Get 'em Jimmy, where Lil Shaq at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon, 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, July 13th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A juicy card today. Ooh, we haven't even finished the show, and after the show, when we work together on certain spots, I add to my card. This is the second most that I've invested over the entire season. Ooh, a lot of people think that you should be very cautious a few days before the All-Star break, and that makes a ton of sense, but I'm fucking getting after it, motherfucker. We're also 24 hours away from opening day at Saratoga, so tomorrow we're going to have Big Ragu on the show. We're going to break down the MLB card for an hour and 45 minutes. Then we jump over to all-day horse racing action. I'm going to cap Delaware Park as well. Razor Sharp Pick's going to be on the show. He's a master at Delaware Park. Woodbine starts at 5:05. So, we'll be hammering horses till 8:36 p.m. when Woodbine shuts down. Then we focus on Friday. Great to see all you guys. What a wild day of baseball yesterday. Now, I had some very important things I had to take care of yesterday, and I didn't know there was a pitching change in St. Louis. And shout out to Earl Sports Bets. He tried to get my attention so I could rebet it. I didn't rebet it, and that cost me a winning day. I had 10 bets yesterday. One was postponed with the Nats, and then I had 3 pushes. I guess 2 pushes, and then I had my Cardinals bet voided with the pitching change. So annoying. Ray's first 5 was a loser. Ray's full game was a winner. That was heads up against Jose. So we break even there, as being the usual thing when we go up against each other. It's either pushes or break even. Ray's team total over 3.5 was a loser. Milwaukee, Minnesota, first 5 over 5 was easy casher. Cardinals plus 135 was right. But it doesn't count for shit. Don't make the money there. Cubs minus 120 was wrong. Orioles keep rolling. Tigers first 5 was a push. Tigers full game was a casher. And then Houston, LA first 5 under 4 was fortunate that it was a push. Fortunate that it was a push. And we got lots more to talk about. Jose has been betting against these minus 300 favorites. And it's cool. Because a lot of us have thought about this situation, and he's doing it. He has the balls to do it, and it takes balls. He's also doing it first 5 full game, which, even bigger balls. And he was at a movie last night with Helga, and he wasn't following the Yankees-Reds game. And we have a little clip of him finding out the score after the game. This is Jose Bouquet on the Cincinnati Reds fading his nemesis, Garrett Cole.
What just happened?
The Yankees gave up 4 runs in the 9th inning.
You really
lose to the Reds.
All right.
It couldn't be me.
I don't know. It's kind of scared me to do that.
He's a happy guy. He's a happy guy. NHL free agent frenzy day, says Fopatashi. I don't know why all the Flames fans are crying because they don't have Goodrow to a 10-year, $100 million contract. You're lucky. You're lucky you don't have that chain around your neck. What is 100? Remember, we've talked about it. You have your greatest year of your career when you're a free agent. You don't get signed. Let the Devils overpay for he scored the second highest points in a free agent year, unrestricted free agent year, in the history of NHL. The second highest points. for an unrestricted free agent. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got a huge show today. We have a huge show today. We got Nolly Knows on the show, and I've already made 13 bets. I'm fucking locked in, man. I was watching baseball all night last night. It was every night. And I was like, let's attack this fucking card. There's so much juicy. You take what the sport gives you. Shout out to Viper MB in the house. 3-0 yesterday. Nice bounce back on Padres. First 5 minus a half, minus 120. He's on the full game under 8. I'm on the first 5 under 4. And I'm on the Dodgers first 5 minus a half. Thinking of adding the Braves minus 1 and Miami first 5 minus a half. I am on Miami first 5 minus a half. Let's lock in a copy and paste our guy Viper NB's action here. AJ ready to get to work. Said I would have had another sleepless night if it wasn't for those pushes yesterday. Okay. But congrats on Jose taking the Reds money line. Wow, yeah, it was wild. Strategic investments. Shout out to Strategic Investments. He comes in, give us Atlanta minus 1. Also Washington minus 5 in WNBA cash. And also, I don't know if any of you guys tailed our guy R2D2 Finland. I mean, he comes in, he puts 50, gives us 50 pounds to Pub Sports Radio, and then he gives us a big winner in UEFA women's soccer with Germany as a dog. Pete was all over it. Pete got that at plus 180. He also got the team total over. Pete bet it. I hope you guys did too. Shout out to R2D2 Finland. Not only does he come in, he gives us money, and then he gives everybody money. What a guy. Strategic Investments, great job as well. James S. says, fucking Yanks. Pistol Pete gave us that thought. He said, watch out for the back end of this bullpen. They've looked susceptible of late. And man, was he right. Danny Lopez ready to get to work. There's Art Hayes. Armchair MMA says, weird day for me. Last night went down about a half unit total, but killed the end of the night. Well, that's good. It's nice to finish strong. There's Clint Star, the diehard MMA podcast in the house. Michael Everlina says, well, I was totally wrong about Sale. Jose should be stoked for the future, but disgusted with them blowing it last night. I thought he must have already been at that movie because he didn't message me when there was that base running gaff. I don't want to take him there. I want to go back to his happiness. I don't want to get him into a... There he is.
Could you imagine, Gerald? Could you imagine? Oh my God. Could you imagine? You know what's the best part about it too? I didn't have one sip of alcohol. All that was just genuine, just laughter and happiness. Because I'm watching it right now again, Jimmy. I'm watching it right now. Clay Holmes is so bad. Remember what Jimmy said earlier in the season? When you're a sinker baller, when you're going great, it's fucking rolling. We're rocking and rolling. It's great. But when you're shit, you are proper dog shit. And now he's folding like fucking paper. Oh my God, I can't wait. This is so funny. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And guess what, Jimmy? We're doing it again today. What fools. Jimmy, did you see the minus 300 fades record?
I did. Let's go over it. Or do you have it in front of you? Because I'll pull it up right now.
I've got it in front of me. Oh my goodness. We started this little adventure of ours, mine, I guess, on May 23rd with these very Yankees against Garrett Cole, with Jordan Lyles on the bump, with my Orioles as well. And they won. And we went on a 4-game winning streak then, because that was also the Pittsburgh Pirates sweeping the Dodgers, rebranding wherever the fuck that place is called, the Pirates Cove. And Nolly knows, obviously hates the Pirates to this day. And then we hit some cold stretches. We hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. Some heartbreaks in there.
7 in a row.
Some real heartbreakers in there. Real heartbreakers. And we've hit 2 straight with the Astros losing to the A's and the Yankees being the mental midgets that they are. They always fold. They've never. And by the way, you know what the best part of what it was? There's just Aaron Judge coming in and just Nothing for him. Nothing for him. He's never hit a clutch home run in that guy's life, man. I hope ever since he took that big ass boombox and started playing New York in Fenway, it's been nothing for him then. Oh my gosh, it's been so funny. It's been so funny. I hope he wins MVP. I hope he wins all the accolades this year. And then I hope he enjoys his palatial estate on the West Coast. But we're 6-7 on the -300 fade, but we're up 8.3 units doing it. So join me.
8.3 units. And you've lost, well, that's including a 7-game losing streak. That's how profitable this fucking thing is.
Oh yeah. 7. And again, maybe my man Steen said he's been tracking it as well. Like, he's been keeping an eye on it and how well it's been doing. If you took the +1.5 line, you would have a lot more wins, because the last 3 losses in a row there were all just brutal, close one-run games in there as well. So, like I said, maybe taking the money line, it's not for the faint of heart. Maybe a +1.5 against these guys. But it'll always be interesting to see how the Yankees respond today after shitting down their leg epically, like buffoons.
It's the happiest I've ever seen you, Jose, in your entire life.
I thrive off the success of my enemies, or the failure of my enemies. There we go. I thrive off the failure of my enemies. I love it. I love seeing them fail so much. I have enemies in life too. And when I see these enemies, looking like crack-riddled fucking diabolical, they're fucking in a ditch somewhere, I thrive on that. I love it. I drink to it. I am very vengeful. I am spiteful. I love seeing Carl Crawford get into legal disputes with Meg Thee Stallion. I love it. I hope Meg Thee Stallion takes him to the fucking cleaners. Love it.
It's wonderful to see you this way. What we're going to do on Wednesdays as we move forward is Jose is going to cap the afternoon baseball games with us, because he can't get to them on his show at 5:30 p.m. Who is your special guest on today's show?
Oh, sorry. They pulled Clay Hopes. Just
Jesus, this guy. I've just never seen.
Oh my God, it's Connor Mack today.
Connor Mack, nice. Okay, dope.
Yeah,
dope.
Yes, Connor's joining me today. I think I'm gonna do a cathartic 99th show by myself tomorrow, and then we'll do Say Hey 100 with the whole gang. Oh man, fuck.
I love it.
I've not seen something that funny in fucking years, man. I texted you this. I'll say it on air. No woman can make me feel like this. No woman, no human being, no force on earth besides the Yankees blowing leads in the 9th inning can make me feel like this.
And I replied to keep that quiet.
I
replied to keep that angle quiet.
Oh, God.
Keep that personal, angle.
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, congratulations on all your successes, Jose. It was fun to watch. It was a wild swings yesterday, and I thought you would be enjoying it very, very much. There he is, the happiest man in the handicapping industry right there.
Thank you. And by the way, if they would have won that game 3-0, I would have come here like a fucking dead puppy after the Red Sox blew that game. But it's like it never even happened. Chris Sale's back. He's got all his Florida genes in him. Oh, my God, I can't wait. Baseball's great.
There he is, Jose Bouquet. Razor sharp picks coming off another winning day. There's our guy, JP. He says, off the chat, but listening to the show. Says, best of luck. WNBA Connecticut Sun first quarter for strategic investments off the 2-0 day. And yes, it's tomorrow, so focus on your golf league. Tomorrow is when we attack the spa, baby. Been running races there since 1863. Jesus, I can't wait. Moose Money ready to get to work. James Lill. Last night was a great big happy help with Baltimore. Moose on the Tigers live bet. Astros all money. I love it. James Lill, I love it. All right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good, buddy. It is all good. Yes. Free big happy. I agree with that, Danny Lopez. Dennis Garcia said, Malcolm decided to run it back, and I decided to run back my Pens futures. Yeah, because you're certainly not going to want to have Pens futures 4 years, the fourth year of that contract when Malkin's actually I'm fine with Malkin's contract. I mean, why didn't Letang sign the same contract? How does Letang sign a 6-year, $36 million contract? I will bounce back for you, Jedi, but I get. I do think that there's a vividness issue, Dennis, but the Penguins looked very good last year. There's no doubt about it. Much better than I expected them to look. So, Jose, it is free agent frenzy day. So when there's some big NHL free agent signings, we want to hear about them. Yes,
Of course. Hold on. I've got. Well, you know what? The Avs re-signed Josh Mason. If you want to hear about that,
Manson.
4 years, 4.5, and
Manson.
the Bruins traded for Pavel Zacic, whoever that is, from the New York Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, you want to hear something hilarious?
Sure.
That was the first time in the modern era a team with a sub 400 win percentage came back from down plus 3+ runs in the 9th inning to beat a team with a 700 plus winning percentage. You want to know something else hilarious? The Yankees 49-0, leading in the 8th inning or after, and they lost to the Reds. Oh my god.
Fobatashi says Kane staying. Come on. Oh, Evander. You mean Evander? Who cares what Evander Kane does? We want to know where Patrick goes. Dommy Gun says the Yankees angle I talked about with you and Jim wasn't that far off. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Dommy Gun. You are absolutely right. All right. And there's Michael Rivers saying Patrick Kane will be a king in the next few hours. He said himself. How can they? I just don't understand after what they signed. What's his name from the Minnesota Wild? I don't know why his name is escaping me. What the hell's wrong with me? But I don't know how they're going to be able to fit that into the payroll. But I'm very excited to see where Kane goes. Otani McClanahan strikeout parlay for Dave Redling. Dommy Gun Ricci being on a roll since dropping 6 units. That happens. That happens. I need to get heat up badly here, and I expect today to be the day. When I was betting these games, I was like, oh, Dom's been sticking to 3 games right now because it's right before the All-Star break. Nice job, Fireside. There's Red Girl in the house. There's Bananas Grapes. Took it as well. I love seeing that. We have Dommy Gun coming off a successful day. Fireside said, yeah, Yankees blew a huge night on Sunday for me. They give up chunks of runs at random right now. Feel for all those who had them last night, but look again. Over at minus 300. There is Big Show Picks. A shout out to the 9th and 10th strikeouts from Cole. Cole's looking good. Thank you, Coin, my guy. There's the gas report. I'm loving the stuff, the insights and everything that you're bringing to the chat. Gas report. It's been very helpful. There's Alex Hills in the house. Great to see you, Alex Hills. All right, it's time to get to work. We have a ton of games to do. I wish I could give you guys all a shout out. You all deserve it. Fireside watching tape for the fight card on Saturday. Dommy Gun's on the under 8.5. Oh, jumped on the under 8.5 last night. He's also on the Blue Jays and the Twins. I'm going heads up with you on that Blue Jay spot. I am betting against my team. Who better to bet against your own team than you? And I am doing that. I'm betting against the Blue Jays. I'm on the Phillies first 5 and full game. We have a game starting in 45 minutes. Right, Cheshire Cat. And Nolly Nose is ready to get to work. Nolly Nose is ready to get to work. Okay, let's get to work. Shout out to all of you guys. I wish I could give you all a shout out. But, and Jedi says he'd love to see Boston fold like paper. We'll see. Rodney Barton, ready to go. Rodney Barton, ready to go. The Reaver in the house. Haramba's revenge says I need a win on this Mariners game. Well, I've doubled up on this Mariners game. Walla Doe says, is this a gambling show or a circle jerk for Jose? Hey, come on, man. It hurts losing. It hurts losing. Let's enjoy. Some people love it. Some people don't. Diehard says, stay toxic, Jose. Darren Thompson, who is this Reds team? Okay, we got to go. We got to go. There's Eric Jones ready to rock. I wish I could give you guys all a shout out. Oh, wait, there's some Mississippi Whisperer ready to go. Did Dennis jump in? I'd love, sorry, if I missed. Oh, Dennis is just laughing. Okay. Who cares? Pittsburgh will be terrible in 3 years. They can win the cup next year. I agree. I don't think they will do it. But, I mean, can you believe some of these moves in the offseason? I mean, I've not seen I think the Malkin signing's good. 4 years. Because, obviously, all these old guys want term. They want term so badly. But we'll talk. There's a Dabby Cap, Dabra Cadabra in the house. Okay, let's go. Sabino Anguano on Mets money line says, "Thank me later." Sammy Comer, yes. Sorry, Sammy. Sorry if I missed anything earlier. And roll it back. Moose Money says, "First 5 under Seattle, Washington, Seattle money line, run line, Great K's over." Wow. We're going heads up there. There's Bruce Shad ready to get to work. All right, let's go. We have a ton of work to do. So first, let's bring in our special guest. He's rolling with us, the Jedi Master of Unders. He had a strange day on his last show with us. It could have been a huge day. He took some big first 5 money lines that pushed, unfortunately. He still went 1-1, and he's still winning on this show. 10 wins, 8 losses, 55.6%, plus 1.57 units, ROI plus 8.72%. Average line minus 105. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Noley Knows. Noley, how are you, my man?
Doing really well, Jim. Actually, you brought back memories of that day. You mentioned why not take plus a half, and as that game was going on, I saw it transpiring with them Tigers, and I heard your voice in my head. Something you don't ever want to have, guys, just in case. But no, you brought back memories. I was thinking of you, man. I didn't listen because honestly, we've had the similar situation. We're doing a playoff run the other way, and you were talking about taking a money line. I said, why not take a plus a half? We went back and forth. You would have cashed if you listened. Same thing for me. So sometimes we gotta listen, But shout out to the chat. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. I love these days. Well, we cap together, and we have a beautiful card that I've fucking attacked. And I've not been doing this. I've been waiting till we break it all down together. I feel like there's some really, really juicy spots. There's some great pictures today. I bet you're all over this card. This is, no joke for me. This is a card where I'm like, oh my God, look at this. I kept saying that. And I was like, let's just fucking go. So I'm all over this card. Samsonov to Toronto says Dennis Garcia. I think their goaltending woes are going to be even worse this year. I think they made terrible blunders with their goaltending maneuvers, Dennis. And we're going to be getting the free agent frenzy in NHL all day. But Jose, we have a chance to cap the afternoon games with none other than Jose Bouquet, as he will not be breaking down those games on his show. And I'd love the opportunity for us all to cap together. So there he is, the happiest guy in the handicapping industry right there. Jose
I think I'll be
Bouquet.
able to keep it together. I think so.
Well, let's get to work, fellas. Let's get to work right now. I do want to refresh my weather here. So let me get that going. Let me refresh. Swish. All right, let's go. We have a game that's popping off here at 12:05 p.m. Eastern. And this was just, I don't know. Look, I guess you want the Mariners to be tired from that long flight. Maybe you want them to be tired off that long flight. There is a belief that the second day is when you're actually the most tired, when you fly across America. But Josiah Gray has these weird splits where he's been so spectacular on the road and he's been so spectacular in the daytime. He's been lights out, unbelievable daytime. So now we get this start that was supposed to be yesterday. Now we get it at 12:05 p.m. Eastern. So now we're starting at 9:05 a.m. for the Mariners, who are a West Coast baseball team. So I think this works out absolutely perfect for the Washington Nationals. I've moved on them first 5 and full game. Let's just quickly start with the weather in Washington here. And this game, again, pops off in about 40 minutes. We have 5.1 miles per hour in, but the weather is the wind's all over the place. So it becomes out after an hour. Out to right, and then it goes left to right. But it's not heavy. 5.15, 5.3 miles per hour. That's it. THC's Rizza says, like the Nats, can't trust Flexen. Eric Jones says, lean Seattle over the total. And Rob Free says Julio Rodriguez is suspended this game as well. The Gas Report says Seattle 8-0 run line with a day off. R2D2 Finland, there he is. Not only did he give us cash, 50 pounds yesterday, but he gave us this juicy winner on Germany in UEFA women's soccer. What a guy. R2D2 Finland. On Mariners -1.5 and under 9.5. Okay, so let's take a look at the line history. So I know a lot of us are on opposite sides here, and that does make me nervous. Let me just get this up here. I'll give you the money first because it's right here in front of me for game one. So there's one team on today's whole card. There's not a lot of perceived line value from Sports Insights. One team has full line value. I'll tell you that right now. It's the Chicago Cubs. The other team with half line value, and more than that, 65%, 70% line value, is Washington here with Josiah Gray on the mound. 8,561 tickets in, 30% of the tickets, 42% of the cash on the Nats, 40% of the tickets, 57% of cash on that over. Armchair says, I thought doesn't Gray pitch better in the morning. He pitches much better in the daytime, but the sample size isn't huge. Harambe's revenge to Seattle's pen's very good, and their bats much, much better. You know, I want to fade every time a team is on a 7+ game winning streak. We talked about it yesterday. It went 1-1, but it was plus money because the Cardinals cashed at a big plus price. Moose Money says, but Flexen's cutters improved recently, and when he has the cutter, it's a different guy. Let's just go over. I'm gonna pull up the line movement here in a second, but let's just set a quick table here. Flexen on the road, 2-5, 4.07 ERA, 257 opponent's batting average. He's coming off a really nice start at the Padres. I do think it's tough for these guys to head over to the East and then pitch at 9:05 a.m. on their body clocks. Josiah Gray coming off a great performance at the Phillies. We all expected it. They won 3-2. We all cashed. He had 11 strikeouts and 1 walk. It's at home where he's had a problem. The Mariners versus righties and the Nats versus righties, there's no discernible difference in their year-long numbers. And you could say, yes, but over the last little while, the Mariners have been stronger. You can say whatever you want. But year-long, 234, 699 for the Mariners, 249, 697 for the Nats. Mariners bullpen much better than the Nats bullpen. That is legitimate. Let's start with Nolly knows. Game one of today's card, 12:05 p.m. Mariners, Nats. We have people on each side here in the chat. Take it away. What are your thoughts?
Kind of similar to yours initially. When you look at the Nationals, you think it's a national spot, but the one thing that I look at is how bad they've been at putting up runs. You look over the last 7 days, haven't been producing very much, especially in the run department. 9 of the last 11 games, they've scored 3 or less. So that's something tough here. For me, even it being an early game and something that you mentioned with flexing on the road, the travel spot's a little less for pitchers. They'll go ahead of everybody else. So him being in that travel spot, not as much of a concern. If you believe in that, then I'd say the bats, but not the pitching would suffer. And that's actually something that I focus on with the Dodgers, where they're in a travel spot. I don't look to necessarily fade them. I look to take the under because the pitcher is not dealing with that. I think overall in this game, I went back and forth with Josiah Gray. Obviously, a guy that I've been high on in the past, but his inconsistency is what keeps me off this game. I've seen him go out there and completely shove, and then I've seen him get lit up after going 3 perfect innings. So his inconsistency, what keeps me off the game. But I have to agree with the Nationals. But if I expect him to pitch well, then I've got to lean under. But overall, there's better games, better matchups for me today.
No move for Nolly knows. Let's go over to Jose Zinata Bouquet. What do you think of this first game, 12:05 p.m.?
I don't have any really strong opinions on it, honestly, as well. I'm kind of in the same camp as Nolly. I guess I would lean towards the Nationals, just based off the pitching advantage. And I like your body clock theorem. I was going to fade them yesterday, but the day rest, I guess, kind of gave me a little bit of pause. But I've never traveled cross country, so I don't know that the second day is the most tired day. You have, I mean, you've done these long flights. You've done some traveling in your life, Jim. So I trust your opinion more than mine in this scenario. So this is just a stay off here.
I love the spot. I just fucking love this spot. I can understand everybody or a ton of public money coming in on the Mariners because of their win streak. I think this is if they can win a game like this when it's 9 a.m. their time and they've flown across the country, and I don't care that there's a day rest. If they can win a game like this and this team is playoff ready, I will be surprised. In the daytime, And look, I know we're talking about 28 in the third innings, not a ton, but a lot of these young pitchers excel in daytime starts because that's what they're used to. In the daytime, Josiah Gray is 4-0 with a 1.27 ERA. Opponents hitting 129 off of him. I mean, he's just, and that's 5 starts. Haramba's revenge is about to make a huge bet on Seattle. I am, confidence doesn't necessarily equate to success, but I'm really confident in this spot. The Nats are now minus 120. They opened up minus 110. I got in at minus 115, and then it went back to minus 110. And now it's minus 120. That makes me feel good. And then their first 5, they're minus 120. I got in on that. First 5 at minus 110. Haramba's revenge says great home ERA. Yeah, his splits are very odd. They're very odd. And Armchair seeing minus 110. I'm just going to give you guys always, when they're available, all of the line movements at Bet365 because I can give you the incomplete line history from them. And Deacon Mike says, please wear a black shirt and cap tomorrow. My winning percentage is way better when you dress like Johnny Cash. I was going to wear green, like money. I was going to wear money green tomorrow. And I usually don't give a fuck, but I can't wait for Saratoga, man. I want $1,000 day so bad. Hunter Engelhart's on the other side, says he's on Seattle full game and first half. We'll see what happens. Look, it's going to be fun. And we're going to be talking about this game as we have this show going on. A lot of people on the other side of me here. I'm on the Nats, full game at minus 115, first 5 at minus 110, and I'm not touching the under. Rodney Barton says Julio Rodriguez serving his suspension, so that's a big bet out of the lineup. Also, I don't know if I can back a team on a winning streak changing cities. I get it. Harambe's revenge says Nats pen are little leaguers. Okay, Armchair MMA says usually wear black for Saturday, called the bookie's funeral on UFC nights. I love it. Okay. And Moose Money says Flex and Cutter was getting hit over 300 just a few weeks ago and is now at 261. This is going to be fun. Andrew G says, what a first game up, though. Hot West Coast team going east. Doubleheader, and they got a day of rest playing the worst ROI team in baseball. Pimp Slap play of the day is the first 5 under 5. Pimp Slap play of the day. And Pimp Slap play of the day has been on a run here. I'm going to copy and paste that. Okay, so that is game 1. Jose and Nolly have stayed off. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to talk about the second half of the double dip here. And I know you're going to get a better chance to talk about this, Jose, on your show. But I do want to touch on this because I do find it a pretty fascinating situation because Tommy Milone has been extremely difficult for me to cap. And I like him now so much that he keeps earning these opportunities to play in the majors. And he has earned this opportunity. This year in AAA for the Tacoma Rainiers, 3-0, 1.12 ERA, 3 home runs allowed in 32 innings. I mean, I find that extremely impressive. He's been okay in 10 innings here. He has allowed 2 home runs, but a 3.60 ERA. There's been times over the last 5 years that I've been doing this publicly that I've really wanted to fade him and thought he was terrible. And I think that's the eye test. Some of these crafty lefties, I just don't know what to do with. And he's going up against Eric Fedde in game 2. Last start for Eric Fedde at the Braves. Eric Fedde was rolling really nice. He was pitching very well, but we knew the Braves destroyed him. And they did just that. 8 earned runs, 3 homers in 3 innings for Fedde's. ERA's back over 5. Nats are only hitting 247, 679 OPS for lefties, which is strange. They were hitting lefties so well before. Let's just take a quick look at the line history and see if our guys are looking for anything maybe in game 1 before they attack game 2. There's been no history as this wasn't even available to bet. Let me see if it's up here at Bet365. It's game 2. It's up. Yeah. So the Mariners don't have Tommy Milone here listed. It's just blank, but they're minus 120. We all expect Milone, I think. Viper says, I want to fade Fedde badly, but I can't here. He's off both games. And for the cash wise in this one, 1,147 tickets in, and 85% of the tickets are on Tommy Milone. Why don't you just take it away here? Is there something that you're looking for, Nolly, in the first game? What are your thoughts on Tommy Milone versus Eric Fedde? Have you already moved on it? Floor is yours. Game 2 of the double dip, Mariners Nats.
I guess what I'll be looking for, what I look for, I guess, typically in those games is the bullpen usage. You know, who has the lead? If Seattle's going to hold on to their strong guys, that's something I'm going to take into consideration going into the next game. Obviously, that's the bullpen that we're going to be focusing on. And but for me personally, I'm not a big fan of doubleheaders. Doubleheaders always seem to get me. I don't have a lot of success. I probably bet 2 all season. So that's something for me that I don't want to get involved. But of the 2 games, I seem to like this one a little bit better. Eric Fetty in a bounce back position, something that you'll hear me talk about quite a bit in the MLB. That's a big spot for most pitchers. You know, I look to back a guy off a bad start more than fade him. And Fetty has shown more than capable this season, and I'd expect him to be able to bounce back here. Me personally, though, like I said, better pitching matchups, and that's where I'm at today. Not this one.
Not this one. I hear that. Gas Station Sushi in the house. His Mariners first game, full game, definitely the size. Gas, I thought you were on vacation. If you're around, we'd love to have you tomorrow for opening day, Saratoga. So Gas Station, so a ton of great cappers on the other side of me here, which is not a comfortable place to be. Jose, game 2, Tommy Malone, Eric Fetty. Have you moved on it? Is there anything you're looking for? What are your thoughts?
I will say this. I think the doubleheader split is like, well, I mean, I obviously don't track it, but it happens very frequently. So, Jim, if you're right in game 1, you think that the Nationals win game 1, it's the Seattle Mariners in game 2. The Nationals against lefties this month, putrid, second worst in the league. That is 61 weighted runs created plus. The only team below them, Jim, you want to have any guess of who that team is?
Against lefties. Who is not touching lefties at all?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Are you serious?
The Toronto Blue Jays have 25 weighted runs created plus against lefties this month. Obviously, that's a small sample size. It's 120 at-bats, or plate appearances, I guess I should say. So nothing for them there. So I would definitely, and I'll obviously during say, hey, we'll know who won game 1. And if you're right, Jim, on game 1, it's Seattle game 2. But the weird thing about this is I agreed with you with the Tommy Malone thing. I expected him game 1. Bovada had him listed, but I just looked, and now it's listed the game with no pitchers.
Yeah.
So it definitely could be a pitching change there. So just be aware. Maybe it's the Nationals pitching change, but I do think that they're going to want to throw a lefty against the Nationals of Seattle. So obviously those numbers tell a story. So we'll see.
And Gas is in Acapulco right now, man. And Kenny V says, Jimmy, why not Nats -1 at +125? I just had, there's no reason for me to, I got -110 and -115. I'm comfortable with that kind of vig, so I don't need to push it there. Okay. From our guys, we've heard it. If now you got Nasty Nate, everybody, God, just feels like everybody's on the other side of me here. Hunter Engelhart.
You call yourself a stick in the wind?
I will never call myself a stick in the wind.
I'll call you a stick in the wind. You're a stick in the wind today, Jim. How's it feel to be a stick in the wind? Hashtag stick in the wind play?
Hashtag stick in the wind, yes. Hashtag stick in the wind. I like this spot quite a bit for the Nats, and I'm pretty excited about this game, but now I'm quite nervous about it. And then I love that stat you had on the Nats against lefties here. Eric Fetty is just not to be trusted, but will he have a bounce back spot? Interesting. Okay. Yes, a couple of different cappers have asked about the Discord link. Jose, if you get a second, if you could pop in, give the Discord link to our guys here in the chat. All right. And Eric Jones saying 15% plus home run boost percentage in Seattle game. Be careful if you like the under. All right, let's move on to another huge game. This one pops off in 40 minutes. New York Mets 54-34, 20 games over 500 at the Atlanta Braves 53-36, 31-19 at home. We're at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. We'll start with the weather in Atlanta. 84 Fahrenheit, 3.9 miles per hour right to left. Gets up to 7.1 miles per hour, but it's just slightly out, basically to the left field pole. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. Bassett versus Morton. And we have a Dommy gun in the chat as well. This is great. So there's been a 10-cent move to the Atlanta Braves, 145 to 155. And this total has gone from 8.5 to 8 down to 7.5. And then it's come back to 8. So a lot of movement towards the under It went down a full run before it started climbing. And we have more looks from R2D2 Finland. UEFA Women's Euro champ Sweden versus Switzerland. Draw is plus 600. Wow. And then you have Netherlands versus Portugal. Draw is plus 380. Wow. Look at that. So R2D2 Finland going for a couple scores there after his great call on Germany yesterday. Our guy R2D2 Finland, the uncle of Joey Spencer, lightweight, undefeated lightweight, out of Linden, Michigan. The small town soldier, Joey Spencer. There's North Ender in the house. Great to see you, North Ender. Okay, let's take a look at where the cash lies in this Mets spot here. 9,154 tickets in. This is the most bet game. Actually, because they're counting the tickets from yesterday. So this is the most bet game on the card. We have 59% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on the Atlanta Braves. 10-cent move towards them. And then 52% of tickets on the under and 81% of the cash on the under. And we've seen a big move to the under. So Cheshire Cat said Sharpie had a killer day yesterday, and Sharpie had a K-prop for Gray yesterday, so he took that for game one. I like that. Okay, so Bassett, Morton, Miami was the spot where Bassett pitched last against at home. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, no walks. He's been good this year. On the road, he hasn't been. 4-2, 5.17 ERA, 243 opponents batting average. Charlie Morton is just getting better and better as the season goes on. Coming off a great start at home versus Washington last out. He's 3-0 at home with a 3.77 ERA, 200 opponents batting average. Both teams hit righties very hard. Both teams' bullpens are pitching very well. We'll start with Noley Nose. Mets, Braves, what do you think here?
A game I'm much more excited to talk about. Two really good teams going at it, and you've seen it. Playoff atmosphere. I mentioned it yesterday in the chat. Again here today. These are games that I've seen. I saw the Dodgers when they went against the Braves, all unders there in that series, and some of the trend that you're seeing going on here today. But also when you look at the Atlanta Braves, been trending to the under. 10 of the last 11 games staying under the total. A big reason for that has been their pitching. One of the best pitching in all of baseball. You look over the last 21 days, the New York Mets ranked 5th in ERA and bullpen at 2.61, and the Atlanta Braves ranked 13th at a 3.15. So really getting it done from the bullpens, and both these starters have been pitching well. Bassett, you look last 3 starts getting quality starts all 3 times, and all 3 against Miami. I don't care who you're facing. When you're facing them 3 times in a row, that is difficult. And to be able to give them the team length and chance to win every time is impressive. I think he should be able to have a success against the Braves. He pitched against them earlier this year, went 7 innings, 3 earned runs. So I'd expect him to pitch well. The question mark, Charlie Morton, he has been touched up in the past a little bit by these Mets, but you talked about it. He got to face the sorry-ass Pirates and got back on track. And ever since then, he's looked a lot better, and a big part of it is confidence. You talked about confidence not equating to wins for us always, but it does equate for a lot more wins for pitchers. Confidence is a big part of it, and I like these 2 pitchers going today. I mentioned the pitching staff. I mentioned the bullpens. The one concern, the humidity getting up there nearly 70%, and a misconception for a lot of people is that humidity deadens the ball. It doesn't. It makes the air lighter, so it allows the ball to travel further. So humidity is a bad thing for unders. So that's the bad thing for me. If it gets a little bit higher, I might have to buy off. I don't know, but I personally like this game, playoff type atmosphere in the National League, under. So I got the 8.5 last night, but I'll take whatever's available right now for the show.
Well, let me see what I can find. I feel like I understand what you're saying about the 3 starts against the Marlins, how difficult that is, and the between the second and third starts coming, dealing with the COVID list, even though he didn't show symptoms. I like Morton here better than Bassett. If I give you a free play, but you would have to take. It would be on the minus a half or plus a half because the Braves are that big of a favorite. Would you lean towards taking Bassett plus a half, or would you lean to taking Charlie Morton minus a half? First 5, Nolly.
Well, honestly, a little bit of the track record to go into that as well. I think I'd take the Mets first 5 with that plus a half.
Okay.
But I'm not the sides guy though. You know what I mean? I say leans and whatnot, but totals are my thing,
Oh, I watch you cash sides for years. So, but I hear you. You focus on the totals and you do a great job with it. Let's go to Jose. Maybe he'll help me figure this out because I'm close to taking the Braves first 5 minus a half. But that's based on Bassett's road record. But I digress. Jose, take it away. What are you thinking here for this early game, Mets Braves?
I am not going to help you because I would rather take the Mets here, honestly. You guys know me. I'm a weird field capper and what's not. I just feel like the Mets, there's a little bit more of desperation in the Mets in this series. It feels like they want this series a little more, obviously, but that obviously doesn't equate to wins. I don't believe in Morton. Maybe I'm just hearing you and Pete talking about Trembolone and all that shit with Morton, and I'm hearing that negative energy in my head. But when is he going to fall off? I don't know. He does dominate or has dominated the last couple of days. The Mets, or sorry, the Nationals last time out for 2 runs and 7 innings pitched. That's a good start, but I don't know. And I don't want to go up against Nolly's under, obviously, but at some point, I think these offenses are going to start hitting. And a 4-1 game in the first game, in the second game, and I think the first game was like 3-1 or something like that. I think this game could get over too. It's a 7.5. I think it is now. Yeah, 7.5.
Do you see it 7.5 somewhere?
I have a 7.5 on Bovada. I'll refresh right now. But it's a 7.5 juice to the over, obviously a minus 125. So it's getting lower, and maybe I take the over there. But obviously, I'd rather have Nolly's insights on his under rather than my shitty insights on the over here. But if I'm taking free bets, gun to my head, full game or first 5, it'd be Mets. To truth be told,
it's 7.5 still a bet online. God, should I be a stick in the wind yet again? I do feel like Morton at home against Bassett on the road. I wonder if that break, when you don't show symptoms with COVID, maybe helps you at this time of year, right before the break. LJ from H-Sun says Braves 8-2 third game of a home series last 10, Morton 7-2 last 9, and 11-0 to the over as a home favorite. All right. Okay. Chairman Kim says when you take Yankees at minus 305 yesterday, got to fade you. I don't know who you're talking about because we only had Jose Bouquet cashing on the Reds full game. So, Sabino Iguana says Mets will line 6 straight lefties, and it's a wrap. I'm telling you guys, Mets money line. If they lose, I'll retire. Don't sleep today. Morton gets hit well. Wow. Okay. I got a little bit of time.
That's hilarious. Wallaby King saying Sabino and he's putting his career on the line on some WWE shit. He's got a tail. I mean, that's pretty factual. If someone's gonna put their career on the line, you kind of have to tell. I might have to screenshot this comment and put it in the Hall of Fame if the Mets win here.
He'll retire?
Yeah. Just put in his boots, keep his gloves in the ring, and then walk off with some dark, ominous music. I believe it. Sabino's a man of his word.
Okay, God. I guess you're right. I guess I got it. Yes.
Again, Jimmy, you won't hear from them if they lose. What can you do there, Jimmy?
No, we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose a cap.
Well, then the Mets got to win. That's not on us, Jim. That's on the Mets. That's on the Mets.
Fuck, man. Oh, no. I don't. No, I like Sabino, man. I don't want. Okay. Okay. Fuck, man. Sniffy Healer in the house. All right, let's move on to the next afternoon game, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Brewers 48-39, 27-20 on the road at Minnesota Twins 48-40, 25-18 at home. By the way, Nolly, I got you an under 8 and minus 108. So, oh no, Big Show Picks thinks we're not going to see Sabino again. I don't like this. I don't like. Okay. All right, we're at Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's go right to the weather in Minnesota. 74 Fahrenheit, 5.7 miles per hour, left to right, but slightly in. We're going to go over to the line history in this spot of Brew Crew versus the Twinkies, Ashby versus Ryan. And the move is being to the Milwaukee Brewers. It was a 15-cent move, but 15 minutes ago it came back 5 cents. So it's a 10-cent move overall. The Brewers have gone from plus 110 from plus 120 to plus 110. This total opened up at 8.5 juice to the over. It dropped to 8. at 7:56 in the morning. It only lasted at 8 for 9 minutes before it got back to 8.5, which is where it is right now, slightly juiced to the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. We have the slight line value to the Milwaukee Brewers. 5% line value, 8,284 tickets in. 33% of the tickets on those Brewers, 31% of the cash. Then 52% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the under. Big bets on the under. Lucas Ryan, Twins play of the day, but he's also on Seattle full game. That makes me very, very uncomfortable. Twins, says Moose Money. Twins, says Loose Money and Lucas Ryan. Ashby, last start at home versus the Pirates. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 2 walks. I think he's got nice stuff from the eye test, but he struggled on the road where he's 1-5 with a 5.16 ERA, and opponents rating 272 off of him. Then we have Joe Ryan, who I don't know. Let's let Jose talk about Joe Ryan, as he did get us on Joe Ryan to win Rookie of the Year. I got in at 18-1. I think you got higher than that. I put $100 on it, but I almost put another $100 after we had talked. Brewers versus righties 241, 745 OPS. Twins versus lefties 244, 708 OPS. Brewers bullpen 3.56 ERA, 1.22 WHIP, and the Twins bullpen very close to those numbers. Let's start with Jose, because you have a close eye on Joe Ryan at all times. Are you backing him here at home against the Brewers?
I am, yeah. I got taken in the bottom mouth last night, as you would say, Jim, by Josh Winder and the Brewers. That delay obviously didn't help my cause, but they were already down by that point. The issue here really is the Minnesota Twins against lefties this month are 23rd, 79 weighted runs created plus. Obviously, a small sample size. We're only 13 days into the season, or 13 days in the month. And who knows how many games they've played. They do have a confirmed lineup with Buxton and Correa and Polanco in. So that makes me feel good. No rise. But I still am going to take the Twins here. But the other thing was, am I going to take the first 5 under in this one as well? And obviously I would want to ask my man Nolly knows here first, because I had questions on Ashby. He came back from a forearm injury. Jimmy, I think you remember I was a huge Ashby guy early in the year. And to me, whenever a pitcher goes down with a forearm injury, it's like, all right, that's the precursor for Tommy John. Here comes Tommy John. Here comes quick and fast. He came back from it, just like Zach Thompson on the Pirates did. They both are pitching pretty well, and I thought they would have, at least Zach Thompson pitched okay. And then back-to-back here, Aaron Ashby against the Pirates pitched pretty good as well. But I'd just much rather have the Twins here, even though the Milwaukee Brewers against righties this month are 8th, 118 weighted runs created plus. I still think that the Twins, are ultimately the better team. So I'm going to take them first 5. Probably take them first 5 minus a half, because it's minus 125. I'll take the minus a half at plus 110. Maybe I'll learn the lesson that you guys have learned with the minus a half and money lines there. But I'm going to take the Twins today again.
So what did you want to make official? My bad. Sorry, I was...
Minus a half plus 110 for the Twins.
First 5 minus a half plus 110. Let's hand it over to Noley Knows. Ashby, Joe Ryan, what are you doing here?
This game, definitely some question marks. Jose mentioned the lefty thing. They faced one lefty starter over the last 3 weeks, or over the last 2 weeks. So, definitely a small sample size, like you said. I think Ashby, there's definitely question marks. Short stint on the IL, came back against Pittsburgh, gets lit up, but he does have some decent stuff overall on the year. 76 strikeouts in just 63 and 2/3 inning. So a guy that can get the swing and miss. So he is capable of doing it. The thing is, Minnesota is the hotter of the team. You look over the last 7 days, Minnesota producing decently is run production, but overall batting average 217, slugging to 374. So Milwaukee, the team really not hitting, as opposed to Minnesota, they've got a 512 slugging in that same span with a 272 batting average. So a team that's really seeing the ball significantly better. So a team that I trust more. I'm I'm torn with Ashby. He does have some good stuff. I'd expect him to have a solid start, but it's hard for me to trust him in this situation. I think I have to see it more consistently because he's had a bit of a roller coaster, and the month of June was just awful. And so it's hard for me to sit here and just try to jump on him. So I lean towards Minnesota because of the inconsistency there. But me personally, I have to stay off and see what Ashby gives me.
Yeah, I think you guys are talking me into Joe Ryan. Jose, do you feel like Joe Ryan is as strong as he was in the beginning of the year? Because I don't know what happened since he's come off of that COVID list. He just maybe I'm just being hard on him because he had that nice start at home against the Orioles, and we know what the Orioles are doing. That was probably the Orioles' last loss. Was that 3-2 win Joe had at home against them when he went 7 strong against them. But, in all these other games, he's allowing. So in the last 4 starts, not including that Orioles start, he's allowed 12 runs in 19 2/3. I don't know. Do you still feel like he's as strong as he was at the, that we felt like he was at the start of the year?
I guess you can't really say as strong, just based off the results, fatigue, and the rookie pitcher last start before the All-Star break and all that stuff. But I still think he keeps you in games. He's not had a start more than 4 runs this whole year, and those 4 earned run spots were at Seattle, the first game back from his COVID break, and the Houston Astros, who are a very good ball club. So he'll keep you in games. The White Sox last time, he gave up 3 runs, only 2 of them earned on a home run. So an unearned run there, obviously, maybe not his fault. And a home run, 1 home run changed the start. And then the Orioles start, he shows that he's still a really good pitcher. If it wasn't for that dickhead in Seattle that made the All-Star team, Julio, fucking hate that guy. If he wasn't so good, maybe Joe Ryan would be climbing up the Rookie of the Year rankings. But you also got Jeremy Pena, too, who's also very good. So I fucking can't stand J-Rod just because he's haunted me and tortured me for the last 2 years, 3 years. But he's a great player, and he probably is going to win Rookie of the Year, unfortunately. So
I think you've talked me into the Twins' first 5. I think you've talked me into the Twins' first 5. I have an hour and 11 minutes before I need to bet it, so I will think about that a little bit longer. But I want to back the Braves first 5 -1/2, but I don't want to be sitting there thinking that I'll never see Sabino.
You'll put Sabino in. Yeah, you'll put him in retirement. It really will be a WWE style retirement match. You versus Sabino. Loser goes home. Sabino wins. I guess he gets this is a show. He'll take over the show and he gets to retire. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know if is that worth $150? No, would I pay $150 to have Sabino in the rest of my life?
I think you would.
I probably would. I probably would. Okay, I like that breakdown. I'm leaning towards joining you there. Let's move on to 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Tigers 37-51, 14-27 on the road. Kansas City Royals 34-53, 18-27 at home. King Al, so many great cappers are on Seattle, and then Stimmy OG and myself are as Jose would put it, sticks in the wind. I hate saying that out loud. The sticks in the wind part, not the actually I hate saying all of that out loud. I don't like being on the other side of these guys. All right, let's talk about this fascinating start with Tariq Skubal, a man that we love very, very, very much. Deacon says I can have him in the rest of my life for just $10 Canadian. It's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. We'll start with the weather here in Kansas City. 87 Fahrenheit, 3.3 miles per hour in, goes up to 4.3 miles per hour
in. Want some breaking news? Some hockey breaking news as it has just started.
Let's hear it.
Campbell, 5 years, $5 million to Edmonton official.
Fuck, I mean,
wow.
All of these signings, they do nothing for me. Like, I just like, all right, the Oilers think that Jack Campbell's going to be what? Fuck, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't sign him. I haven't seen enough from him. Noah Rise says Robert Franklin in the Twins lineup. But okay, let's go back here to this spot here. we go into the line history for Scooball versus Singer. No movement. Opened up with the Tigers at plus 105. They went to plus 100 for a couple minutes there. This total opened at 8, and then it dropped to 8 to 7.5. And it was 7.5 until 7 minutes ago. 7 minutes ago, it moved back to 8.
Claude Giroux signs with the Ottawa Senators.
Wow.
3 years, 6.5.
Wow. Giroux and DeBrincat on the Senators? Wow. That's fucking wild. Okay. Sorry, let me get back here. Tigers, Royals. Where is this? Here we go. 6,973 tickets in. 47% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on the Tigers and Tariq Skubal. 40% of the tickets and 91% of the cash is on the under. So Skubal has looked quite poor of late, but then he faces the White Sox at Chicago, and we've been watching what the White Sox have been doing to lefties, and he was pretty good. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 7 Ks, and 1 walk. He's been good on the road this year. 3-3, 3.71 ERA, 240 opponent's batting average. I wonder then, did Tariq Skubal turn a corner in that last start after he looked so great in the beginning of the year, and then he hit quite a big bump? Brady Singer in his last start, 4-3 win at home versus Cleveland, goes 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, no walks, 1 home run allowed. 4.25 ERA, 1.17 whip. He's having a good season. At home, he's a little worse than he is on the road. Of 2-2, 4.46 ERA, 261 opponent's batting average. The Tigers are hitting 216, 594 OPS versus righties. We've been waiting all year for that to change. It's not going to, it looks like. The Royals, 242, 677 OPS versus righties. And then the Tigers bullpen, so much stronger than the Royals bullpen, but we haven't really seen that in the series, although I guess we saw it yesterday when we cashed on the full game with them. Let's start with Nolly knows. Did Tariq Skubal turn a corner in that start against the White Sox? And should we trust the market move or the bigger bets that have come in on the Detroit Tigers?
I think, yeah, we look at the game. You got to look into the last start out. First inning looks like the same old Skubal of what we've seen recently, right? Gives up 3 hits, 2 earned runs in that first inning. But after that, was able to go 5 more innings, only giving up 3 hits and a walk after that. And a big thing when I read articles, and that's something that I like to do with when I can't figure out a pitcher. Nothing seems to be wrong with him physically, but yet he was a stud and now he's a bum, or he's a bum and now he's good. So I got to read up and see what's going on and what are the changes. Earlier, I think my first appearance here was when Skubal was struggling. The second start, I believe he struggled. And when I was reading the article, he mentioned about missing to the glove side, and a lot of things he mentioned were basically reading in between the lines, saying that he doesn't know what the hell is going on. And more recently in his previous start, when reading the articles, reading what Hinch had to say, they talk about how he found his slider once again. He got the movement of the slider, something that he had been lacking over the last few starts. And his secondary pitches were working very well. He was able to command a lot of his secondary pitches. And a big thing that we talked about, we mentioned it here a few times already, is confidence. He comes in here pitching with confidence, something that he wasn't pitching with the last time he seen them when he got lit up. Gave up five earned runs in 4 2/3 innings, but he has seen this team and has had success against them in the past. Pitched against them earlier this year, went 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. So I'm expecting more so that type of start here from Skubal because of confidence. And, he's still figured it out here at the major league level. He's still trying to get persuaded. And AJ Hinch, I believe, does a very good job in managing these pitchers, and I expect him to have a bounce back start. Singer on the other side, you mentioned how good of a year he's had. He's had a lot of success against these Tigers. Tigers, if they hit, I bet them not to hit. The one frustrating thing, well, it hasn't been a reoccurring theme on the year, but yesterday was errors with this Kansas City Royals team. That's something that I just can't stand to watch. That's why I don't understand Jose's love with the Pirates. I understand if they cash for him, but they're just garbage, and they're horrible to watch. The worst fielding team in the MLB. I can't watch that shit. But Kansas City Royals got me yesterday. Kansas City Royals, four errors in 1 inning really blew up that game. I talked about it recently with you, Jimmy. If everybody does their job, the game stays under. And, that's more so what I expected in this game. I lean towards the under. I wanted to get the 8.5. I don't trust the Royals bullpen. I do trust the Tigers bullpen. But here, I'm off. I guess all about nothing, but I do trust Skubal today.
I do too, and I don't want the fact that we cashed yesterday. Look, this would be if I went Tigers first 5 full game, it'd be the 3rd straight day I've done it, and I lost both bets on Monday. I pushed one and cashed one yesterday, but I'm leaning towards backing the Tigers here again today, and to see that Scooball really did show a difference against the White Sox. Let's hear what Jose has to say. Tigers Royals.
It's a tough game. I'm probably gonna pass. It's a mini bum fight. These two teams looking at each other are probably like the Spider-Man meme, looking at each other, just pointing at each other. They're kind of the same young bats who are unconvincing. I would say one high-priced guy, but the Royals don't have that high-priced guy. Shout out to Whit Merrifield. But ultimately, I had to pass here. I don't like either one of these ball clubs at all, really. Scooble, you're a big Scooble guy, Jim, and I know it doesn't take you much convincing to take Scooble. He's at the top of your rotation, just based off heart. But I've never really liked them all that much. I've never been sold on the Mize Scooble thing. I think that's mainly Mize holding down my opinion of Scooble. But now he's gone through these struggles. I'm not sure. The White Sox are an exceptionally shitty club, exceptionally shitty, and the fact that he shut them down was the Tony La Russa factor. Nolly, they've got nothing left. They've got juice. They've got nothing. They're not making the playoffs this year. And if they just fired if they fired their manager, they would make the playoffs. It's really that simple, and it's pretty funny. But ultimately, I had to pass on this game. I guess the plus money is somewhat appealing for the Detroit Tigers, but you could say that about literally every Detroit Tigers game, I think. So I had to pass here.
Sabino says, "Alrighty, boys, I'm about to watch the biggest game of my career. This isn't a goodbye. It's a see you later. 5 p.m. on say, hey, 5:30. Mets money line. Here we come." Well, okay, Sabino, I'm not going to go on the other side because I want to see you again.
Good luck, man.
Let's go, Sabino. I'm so excited for this game. I'm more excited about this game than I am any Red Sox game. I'm more excited about this game than I was to see Chris Sale pitch. It's going to be electric.
I mean, I would be.
I mean, come on. Well, I'll fight you right now, Nolly. By the way, Brendan Smith to the New Jersey Devils, 2 years, $1.1 million.
And I guess you guys are right saying that Sam Snell for 1 year, $1.8 million. But Matt Murray, are you kidding me? I mean, I just find it impossible. I don't know what to do with Gibson or Murray right now because they're both 28, aren't they? I mean, they should be playing well. Okay, I will get off of the Scooball train, but Singer's been pitching quite well at home, and he went 8 1/3, 2 starts back against Oakland. Did allow 4 earned runs against a weakening Oakland team. He went 7 innings, allowed 3 earned runs against the Guardians. I guess it's down to 4. It's not a 4. It's not worthy of a 4. Okay, I'll stay off of it. Cheshire Cat says Josiah Gray just threw the ball into the stands. He's just getting in their head. Cheshire Cat. I mean, don't worry. That's what I told him to do.
With him. Justin Schultz to Seattle, the Kraken. I just remembered that they were a team, 2 years, $3 million-ish.
Who is that?
Justin Schultz, I think you say his name.
Decent player. Moose Money says, my own opinion is Scooball got infatuated with K's. If you start being too aggressive with K's, you'll regress, kind of like what happened. Interesting. Okay. Top set's got. He's been running so hot, right? He's been catching so much, and he's been staying away from any bad teams. So Top Set says, if this game has your money, you already lost. That's what Top Set says. Come on. You're a little too dramatic there, Top Set. I guess he doesn't want me to bet bum fights anymore. Okay, I'll stay off. I've got a ton of action. There's no need to reach here. Let's move on to the final afternoon game here. Arizona Diamondbacks 39-49, 17-23 on the road at San Francisco Giants, 44-42, 22-21 home. I was pretty angry last night overall. Clearly, the simple looks backing Cease, fading Keuchel were bang on. I mean, they couldn't have been more bang on. The White Sox win 7-0. The Giants win 13-0. So I really felt like I left some money on the table there, just trying to be too smart. But here we're back in Oracle Park. 3:45, a game that starts at 12:45 out in San Francisco. Let's start with the weather here in this one. Sorry, let me go pull up switch. Here we go. 57 Fahrenheit, 8.4 miles per hour out, goes up to 9.8 miles per hour. Let's go over to the line history here in this one. We have Gallen versus Brebbia. It is a 10-cent move to the Giants. From a total perspective, it opened up at 8.5. It moved to 8. It's now slightly juiced to the over at 8. We look at the cash flow here in this one. We have 5,043 tickets in. 77% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the Giants and Brebbia. 24% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the under. Brebbia is a 32-year-old journeyman, but he's been lights out of late. Hasn't allowed a nerd run in a while. I know he was only going to go an inning, but he's been very good this year. Zach Gallen's looked a little more susceptible of late. That 6-5 loss at home versus the Rockies, I was on that over in that game, and it cashed quite easily. He just hasn't looked very good. The Diamondbacks are hitting 219, 686 OPS versus righties. Giants are hitting 234, 706 OPS versus righties. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.39 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. Giants bullpen 4.22 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. Both bullpens sort of struggling. Let's hear what Nolly knows has to say about this spot. Diamondbacks, Giants, take it away. You're on mute, my man. No, it's still okay. Let's go over to there we go. You back?
I think Jose did that, man. He doesn't want me to talk.
I wish I did. It said your mic.
Yeah.
I disconnected. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. I was watching him. But anyways, Zach Gallen, yeah, I can understand, he did get touched up a little bit, but back-to-back starts against Colorado, something I just mentioned, always difficult to do, and then was touched up against San Diego. That was the one outlier, I believe, more so. But I still believe a solid pitcher and a guy that's working on his craft, pitch game in and game out, a guy that he's looking at other guys, other pitchers that have been successful, especially Kershaw. That's a guy that he replicates some of his secondary pitches after and been working on that and really just the grip of the pitch. So this is a guy that I'm very high on, and I'd expect a bounce back performance. I mentioned it. When a guy gets lit up, I more so expect him to pitch well. If I trust him, right? If he's a bum, he's a bum, right? But I don't believe Gallen is a bum. I believe he will have a decent start against the Giants. Giants really aren't hitting the ball all that well right now. If you look, sorry, wrong stat here. They're hitting just 241, but if you look over the last 10 days, they rank bottom 10 in almost every offensive statistic. And I believe him to have a good start. The question mark, I believe, is on the other side with the bullpen for these Giants. I'd understand you get the one inning here, one strong inning. So something that I used to do quite a bit. I don't do it as much, but when these openers started coming out back in the day with Tampa Bay, when they had these openers, I used to go no run first inning. And because, a guy's going to come in and pitch electric, it feels like you have half the equation. Maybe look that way, but ultimately I lean towards the Diamondbacks on the first 5. Trust Gallen more in this spot, but not to play him on.
All right.
Wow, some major things happening there. Gray allows a 3-run home run for all you guys who are on the Mariners, and Charlie Montoyo was just fired.
Yep, 2 minutes ago.
Wow.
So now the Blue Jays are bet on today. I think they're going to come out hot. At least the offense. I would rather bet their team total now. But now it's everyone's first reaction is that this is over the top and probably a little excessive. The offense is going to come out hot now, I think.
Against Zach Wheeler?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think that there's always a sense of responsibility when your manager gets fired around the locker room. And I think that those young guys are going to feel a little responsible, especially how shitty the last 2 weeks have been. Especially offensively too, and
they're not playing the Angels like the Phillies did when they fired their coach. This is a much different situation. The Philadelphia Phillies bullpen is like number 2 overall in the last 21 days. So you're facing Wheeler and a couple innings of that bullpen. I don't know, Jose. I mean, you're the emotional guy.
I am an emotional guy. You're right about that. That is 100% accurate on that. I literally cried earlier on the show out of laughter, Nolly. I can say that for a fact. Home road splits for Wheeler too are a little wacky as well. That's crazy. That is a wild thing. Blue Jays don't give a fuck, huh?
Wow. Wow, I never knew if we all want Montoya out because of his decision making, but I don't know if the players like him or not. I could never figure that out. Wow.
And do
Okay.
you have a? It's like, do you have a leader to just automatically fill in to just keep the train rolling? That's
That's
my
the problem.
concern with this.
That's what I
That's
was
my
thinking as
concern.
well
It's
now.
not just this isn't a rebuild year, so to be doing these things in the middle of the season.
That's why they were saying on radio yesterday that it wasn't going to happen, that you just don't do it this late in the season. And the guy who's coming in right now that we expect to come in is no different than Montoya. It comes from Montoya. It's same everything. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
damn it. And by the way, Rob Free saying get fired after the funeral too, the day after or whatever. Whew. That's brutal.
Wow. Okay. Diamondbacks, Giants, Jose Gallen versus Brebbia. What do you think here?
I'd much rather have Gallen and the Giants here, essentially. Now I'm trying to get my head screwed back on. The Arizona Diamondbacks against righties, obviously it's a bullpen day and what have you. This could change pretty quickly. They're 115, that's 9th this month, while our lovely San Francisco Giants are 26th, 70th, or 70 weighty untraded plus, I should say. So I ultimately would agree with Nolly. I like Gallen as well. And especially after you get your shit kicked in yesterday. I do kind of expect a little bit of bounce back here. So I'd rather have the Giants. Probably first 5. I suppose first 5 because, well, the Giants bullpen's not, good anyways. But do you really want to put your hands and let Jesus take the wheel with the Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen as well? I don't personally. So first 5 for me, I should go ahead and make that official. I've kind of tucked myself into it. I think it's kind of weird that the Giants are minus 125 favorites for the first 5 too. I thought it would be a little closer at least. You know how we have some of those lines that are pretty wacky first 5 to full game. But yeah, I think I'd take the first 5 money line minus 105 for them, for the Diamondbacks.
First 5 Diamondbacks money line at minus 105. I'll just quickly see if I can beat that here.
Vancouver signs Curtis Lazar. I believe that's how you say his name. 3 years, $1 million.
$1 million per. That's nothing wrong with that signing. First half, first 5. So you could find a minus 105. Oh no, I got plus 103 for you. Plus 103. So let's get Nolly. Let's get Jose plus 103. So Jose's moved on 2 different spots here on the early card. If you want more, are we still gonna get you for Red Sox Pirates, or do you have a spot that you want to jump in here with a play?
There's another one. You'll see it when the graphics come up. It'll be very easy to tell which game I'm on. And the experiment continues, man. Like I said, I was fucking sick and tired of seeing that tweet at the end of the fucking year every year that said, "Oh, if you took every underdog against the minus 300, you would have been 5-21, but up 6.6 units." So I've decided to take fucking matters in my own hand and do it. I was tired of that tweet, and now I'm going to send that tweet out at the end of the year and hate myself for it. But it's going to be all right. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, I'll be back, and you'll know what game I'm on.
All right. There it is from Jose. So he's on the Diamondbacks. Oh, sorry. Jose is on the Diamondbacks. First 5 at plus 103. And he's on the Twins first 5 minus a half plus 116. And I think I'm going to be adding to that. Everybody who is sitting here saying what the Jays are doing is not smart and not handled correctly, you're right. This is really poorly done after the funeral, all this stuff. Like this is everybody was screaming for Montoya to be let go earlier than this and to make this decision now. I mean, at least make it over the All-Star break. I just think what we've seen from Atkins and co is really just no class. We've seen it throughout their whole time here. And that's why Anthopoulos left to the Braves. He was basically forced out, and he's beloved up here. Like the guy's, he was like Messiah. Anthopoulos was the most loved executive. And Toronto has a pretty rich history of loved executives, and Pat Gillick and guys of that ilk. But it was Anthopoulos was hugely loved, and it's just mistake. It feels like mistake after mistake here.
Kevin Rooney signs with the Flames, 2 years, 1.2.
All right. This is a lot to take in. I feel like all of my future bets are just fucking trash on the Jays. I think that I just not impossible for them to turn it around, but ugly. Okay, so I'm thinking of adding that spot that Jose's on, the twin spot. Nolly's look is on the under 8 in Mets Braves, and don't forget he got it at 8.5, and but he made it official here at 8. So that's where we stand here. Yeah, this sucks. This fucking sucks, man. It's disappointing. Disappointing. It sucks when you like for the Canucks within the Jim Benning era, they were just fucking classless fucking schmucks, and we have such a history of that in Vancouver with Tortorella just being such a dick. Mike Keenan taking the captain off of Trevor Linden and giving it to Mark Messier. It just sucks when the team that you're the fan of is just a classless fucking morons. Okay. Let's move on to night action here and change it around. Change this vibe around because I'm angry all of a sudden. I mean, okay. 6-4, and I don't like Montoya. This is not because I agree with what you were saying, Nolly, that when Jose was like the Jays are bet on. This isn't the type of situation where like, okay, we got him out. We're gonna get everything together. This is like
my thing is like in other sports that does translate a little bit better, whether it be football or basketball, where effort is going to equate to results, but it doesn't always happen in the MLB. Doesn't matter if you're perfect, you're going to you hit it right at a guy, you're out, and if you tighten up and you try to change your swing, you're going to get yourself out. So if you try harder, sometimes in MLB, it pans out to be worse. So I don't necessarily think that that's a strategy. I'm not saying that they can't hit. This is still a good hitting ball club. And who knows what happened, Who knows? Maybe something happened that they just couldn't overlook and they had to let him go, Maybe he crop dusted somebody, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he got a little too liquored up at a funeral. He wouldn't be the first guy to do that.
But
who knows?
I'm over here firing on this game right now.
Which one?
I took a live first 5 under 7. The Mariners, Washington.
Oh, I like that look. As long as
one hit, 2 walks.
As long as Flexen plays his part here, which he looks like he has been doing so far. That makes sense. So live bet alert. Nolly knows is on the first 5 under 7 in the Mariners game that just popped off. Okay. And Dommy Gun is in. He's added to play Padres first 5 minus a half. It's funny you mentioned that because that's what basically they were saying on the radio yesterday. They were saying that there's very little advantage. You don't see general managers fired this late in the season. And if you look back last 10 or 15 years, it's only happened a couple times. And it's happened like in the last week of the season. I believe Bell was fired by the Reds in like the last week. Like it's just kind of strange situations where you're just kind of sort of cleaning house right before you do the walkout interviews, because you're right. This is Gas Station 2 said Jays are in a much better position than the Braves this time last year, and we all know how that story ended. I agree. I agree. It's just the way Atkins does his thing.
But the Braves were there every year. It's not like it was like a fluke season. They were contending for how many years straight before they finally broke through.
I only do this for big ones, apparently. I think this is a big one. Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah.
Signs a 7-year deal with the New York Rangers.
Wow. I like that signing for the Rangers. A penalty killer, tough guy. Now, yeah, I think that if the Panthers had him, it might have been a bit of a different story. I don't think they get swept as bad. I like that signing for the Rangers. I like them. I like it. All right. Wallaby King also has breaking news. His weed bag is empty. So we got lots of breaking news coming around. And Moose Money rolled with you on that first 5 under 7. So you got Moose Money rolling with you. I like that look. Okay, let's move on. 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Pirates 38-50, 18-27 on the road at the Miami Marlins, 41-45, 20-19 at home at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. I have already moved on the Marlins here. I know that Lopez only got through 5 innings at the Mets last out, but I've been impressed with his bounce back. And I think he still is the pitcher that we thought he was. I think he's still a very, very good pitcher. But the 12-cent move has gone to the Pirates, and that makes me uncomfortable. When I took the Marlins on the -1 line, I got -185 on the money line. It's now -175. That makes me uncomfortable. I stayed off the total. Total opened up at 7 at a pick'em. There's been a 5-cent move to the under. I think Brubaker is a good pitcher. I had interest in this first 5 under. I'm interested to hear what Nolly has to say about how he's handling this total. There is about 15% line value as per Sports Insights on the Pittsburgh Pirates. 6,720 tickets in. So this makes me uncomfortable. 84% of the tickets, 84% of the cash on the Marlins, and a move towards the Pirates. 58% tickets on the under. They haven't given us the cash flow here. I'm going to refresh this and see if there's any change in the... And there is no change in any of this. Okay, Brubaker, I kind of like him. 2-8, 4.34 ERA, 1.47 WHIP, 88 Ks in 87 innings, allowed 9 home runs in those 87 innings. Coming off 4-3 loss at the Brewers. It was back-to-back starts against the Brewers. I thought he was decent. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, but 5 walks. On the road, he's 0-6 with a 4.32 ERA, 252 opponent's batting average. Pablo Lopez, 2.91 ERA, 1.07 WHIP. In 5 innings of his last start, as I said, he just allowed the solo shot. At home, he's 3-1 with a 2.41 ERA, but 189 opponent's batting average. Pirates rating 220, 665 OPS versus righties. We've already seen Jose get off the team total train, when Reynolds went down with injury. And the Marlins are still hitting righties decent with average. Not a ton of power, but 246, 711 OPS. Pirates bullpen, 4.60 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Marlins bullpen, not very good either. Being a little better of late, 4.07 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Take it away. Nolly knows Pirates, Marlins, and 2 decent, one very good pitcher and 1 decent pitcher on the mound. Take it away.
Yeah, Pablito Lopez on the mound, a guy I'm very high on, especially here at home. Has been no secret over his career. Always feels more comfortable. This year, a little bit less of a difference. But overall, last time out, was able to get a little redemption against the New York Mets. Had to pitch in the short, well, not like a short outing, but he was actually pushed back, had some issues with his hand. It felt like he was kind of just thrown in there. That was able to bounce back strong in that last outing, and something that I'd expect to see once again. This is a strong pitcher, a guy that works on his craft. He hasn't seen the Pirates since 2019, so the unfamiliarity should work to his advantage. And Pittsburgh Pirate team, like you mentioned, just not hitting the ball that well, hitting 219, 3.7 runs over the last 7 games. Other side, the Marlins, they've been even worse. Over the last 7 games, 2.3 runs per game, just a 184 average and a 260 slugging. Weighted runs created plus over the last 2 weeks, they are 29th. Yeah, 29th overall in the league. Miami just really not hitting the ball at all. So really a basic equation here, a strong pitcher and a weak offense. Pretty simple under. Brubaker, the question mark, I guess, for some, but he's pitched strong. Last time out, question mark with his control, but that's not something that we've seen lately. Last month, he threw 38 strikeouts to just 10 walks. So the command has been there, and he's striking out a batter an inning. So the guy has had swing and miss stuff, has gotten outs when he's needed to. He's been very serviceable. The question mark here, I think the big question mark is the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen. That's the one thing that I'm a bit afraid of. The Miami bullpen, though, over the last 21 days, 3.1 ERA. So pitching significantly better recently. So I definitely trust them. And the reason I'm going to decide to go full game here is because of the bats, right? So if they score early, I expect them not to score late, vice versa. And so I'm going to take the full game. I took it under 7. Sucks I wanted the hook, but I'll take the 7 with these awful offenses.
Let's get it for you right now. The under 7 here. Okay, Ronnie and Bergie said I wanted the Pens to sign Trocheck. Yeah, I like that sign. I like that signing. The term's a little long. For Trocheck, but I like the signing. Okay, and I did move on the Twins first 5 at -125. I didn't take the -0.5 as Jose did. Let's get you this number here. We'll go over to Pinnacle and see what we can get you. We have pull this up. Full game under 7, and that was at -110. I wonder if Circa can beat that. Circa has the full game under minus 115. I like this. I like this. And you like the full game better than the first 5?
Yeah, because I mentioned the offenses. So if I'm looking at full game stats and referencing those numbers, then I'm going to bet those numbers.
Yeah, I get it. Noley is on the under 7 at minus 110. And good news for those of you who are on the Marlins. I know that the market is sort of a red flag here, but our Ron Crawford is also on the Miami Marlins. Shout out to Ron Crawford. Marlins is the spreadsheet play of the day.
Robert
Oh.
Thomas, large extension to the St. Louis Blues, a 8-year, I believe it was. But he signed a large extension, 8 years, I believe, 7 years, $8.25 million per. So bread it up, chicken titties.
I don't like the term, but he's young enough where the term is somewhat acceptable, and it's possible that can be an okay contract. You know, you like to think that if you were a general manager, you wouldn't give anybody a term over 6 years, but maybe a guy like Robert Thomas wouldn't sign it if you didn't. Maybe he needed the term. A lot of these guys demand term. So I think he's young enough to warrant it, not to be angry about it. Yeah, Lucas Ryan upset because Prawn is going to test the open market. All right, I've got the first 5 minus a half and full game minus 1. I think I'll just leave it there. But I can understand anyone being on the under or the first 5 under. And Nolly is on that full game under. Okay, let's move on to 7:05 p.m. Eastern next up. And I believe we will have a visit from a man who likes to fade all minus 300 baseball teams. See him smiling in the background. A very, very strong record doing this.
It's so funny, too, that there always seem to be the Yankees. It always seems to be the Yankees. It's a wonder how that happens.
And
Hey, Jose, how you been, man? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Nolly. How you doing?
Great,
Been a minute.
Reds, Yankees. Mike Minor off of a good start in the 4-2 loss at home to the Pirates, 6 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 1 homer, 8 Ks, 2 walks. It was on the heels of a really good start. So it looks like he has turned it around after this terrible start to the year, 6.63 ERA, 1.42 whip. Going up against Luis Severino, who's just looked so strong this year. 5-3, 3.11 ERA, 1.02 whip, 94 Ks and 84 innings, 23 walks, 11 home runs. Earl Sports Bet says, Jose, I'm joining your experiment for the rest of the season. Reds money line at plus 255 for him. Luis Severino at home, 3-1, 2.62 ERA, 216 opponents batting average. Reds versus righties, 235, 672. Yankees versus lefties, 241, 769. Reds bullpen, 5.35 ERA, 1.48 whip. You wouldn't think that they were that bad after the fine performance they had last night against the Yankees lineup. Yankees bullpen dropped to 2.85 ERA, 1.13 whip. Let's start with the weather in the Bronx here. We have 85 Fahrenheit, feels like 87, so not much there. 9 miles per hour to left field, out to that short porch. It dies down to 7.1. Then we have the line history in this Yankees-Reds spot. We have a big move toward, not that, a 15-cent move towards the Yankees. They opened up minus 315. They're now minus 330. From a total perspective, they opened up as a pick 'em. Now it's minus 120 to the under. And when we take a look at the cash here, we have 9,848 tickets left. There is a sliver, and I mean a sliver, like 1 or 2% line value on the Cincinnati Reds. 9% of the tickets are on the Reds, 4% of the cash. 28% of tickets are on the under, and 71% of cash is on the under. Say, hey, play of the day. Jose, take it away.
Reds, full game, first 5 money line. I don't really have to read the stats because they're all shitty for the Reds. But we do this, and we do this like it's a religion. You don't question it. You just have to have faith. You know, like my man Jimmy V said, sometimes you have to cry, laugh, and make bets. That's how you have a full day right there. And you have a full day by betting the Cincinnati Reds. a win yesterday obviously makes it a little more difficult. Winning 2 in a row at the Bronx against this Yankees squad is always challenging. But of course they have a better pitcher out there today. The Yankees do, in Luis Severino, than yesterday. So I think that's always a challenging thing. But their bullpen is shaken. Michael King, we'll see how he does, if he's going to get the close today. And if it's not Michael King or Clay Holmes, is it Aroldis Chapman? We're really going to do that? Oh, boy. Oh, my God. I can't wait. But I'm taking the first 5 full game. I take, like I said, if people are wondering why I take first 5 full game, shout out to Paul Blackburn against, I think it was the Yankees. But it was a first 5 full game there that I did not take. I took full game. He cruised through the first 5 innings. He got the dub there. And, of course, the Oakland bullpen blew it. So I learned from that experience. We're taking first 5 full game. We split them. We still come up winning money. And if we hit both, then we're just in ecstasy land. Shout out to the Oakland A's for that the other day. I split yesterday, and it still tasted just as sweet. I promise you guys. It still tasted just as sweet. So, yeah, first 5 full game for me.
Well, you've got it. The best lines we could find, the plus 280 full game at Pinnacle, the first 5 plus 250 at Bet365. There you go. Let's hear what Nolly. That's great news for Nolly knows, by the way. Hernandez just smashed the ball, and it didn't leave the park in Washington. So that's a good sign for that live bet that Nolly made here, that Moose money tailed, that first 5 under 7. Nolly, take it away here. Reds, Yankees, minor Severino.
I was watching the other game, Cunha getting out on the bases. But this game, I mean, Luis Severino, a guy I was high on. The guy kind of was, when I watch him, I was waiting for him to just get his legs under him. I know he's having decent starts and then kind of get touched up a little bit and then solid starts, but he's been on a run as of late. And a guy that I'm high on, a guy that I expect to have success. I commend Jose for having the guts to do something like this throughout the season. You know, the tough part for me, I think, is seeing the win-loss record be negative, you know, that throws me off, you know, but
I agree with that wholeheartedly. The 7 straight losses were not fun, Nolly. I'll admit it.
Like, it's tough, but I think you're right. If you're going to do it, you stick to it. And I think no matter what, I think this is a tough spot. I think one of the tougher spots that you're choosing here, tough to pick and choose a team like the New York Yankees to lose 4 in a row, you know, and then to pick the Reds to win, I think, 6 in a row, you know, so that's just something that's difficult to do in the major leagues. There's a reason why people bet against that religiously. So I think that's the concern with that bet. And then Minor, you know, Minor's, he's shown the ability to get completely lit up, hasn't been consistent at all this season. He puts together one start and then gets lit up. So being that he just came off a good start, it's kind of like suspect here, but the one guy I'm trusting is Severino. So, I mean, I'd lean towards like a Reds team total first 5 under, even if it is 1.5. I think he shuts them down here in the first 5. But, I mean, me personally, though, I'm not on it.
By the way, John Schneider named the interim Blue Jays coach, manager, whatever.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, where there's not going to be a ton of it. There's not going to be a difference, but I just hate the timing of it. I don't understand why. I just don't understand why you can't wait until the All-Star break to make this decision. Just doesn't make any sense to me here.
I agreed. I remember us having the conversation about it, and I said, like, yeah, it seems like it's probably going to be around the All-Star break. If he survives the All-Star break, then he's fine. But yeah, this is shocking. I will say that.
Obviously the death of Budzinski's daughter threw everybody for a loop on that team. You take the whole team to the funeral, you come back. These are tough times. You handle together. You get a win. Maybe they're worried about the Jays winning a few games. You know, it's possible that they could be worried about that.
It's shocking, really. Like I said, this is the first 2 hires were not like as or the fires, I should say, were not as shocking. But this one is the one that everyone's like, oh wow, this is appalling. And by the way, Lit Picks here really trying to hurt my feelings with the picture here. Like he changed. I know he changed his picture here to Christian Arroyo just aimlessly looking for that fly ball just to hurt my feelings. So shout out to you, Lip Picks. But yeah, they haven't lost 4 games all year. They're a wagon, guys. They're the best team in baseball. Their bullpen's the best. They've got the best lineup. They've got the MVP. They're in the Bronx. What could possibly go wrong? The Cincinnati Reds suck. Aaron Judge next year is probably going to make more than this whole Cincinnati Reds team combined. So who knows? What could possibly go wrong for the best team in baseball?
Well, let's get into this Philadelphia Phillies Toronto Blue Jays game. As you guys might have assumed, and it was Jose's feel as well, there was a 10-cent move to the Jays as soon as the firing was announced. Less than an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. This opened up with the Phillies at minus 120. I got in when there was a pick 'em. The Phillies are now plus 100. Plus 100. The Blackhawks, those are terrible signings. Maybe Max not as much as Athanasiou, but terrible signings for me. Terrible. Blackhawks, feel bad for Luke Richardson. Okay, Phillies, Jays, Rogers Center, Toronto, Ontario. The roof, I imagine, will be open. It's beautiful here. 68 Fahrenheit, 8.9 miles per hour in, goes down to 7.9 miles per hour. We did see the wind affect some offense yesterday. It's a lot is strong blowing in today. Take a look. Oh, we went over the line history. Let's just go over that total for the line history here. And it opened at 8 as a pick'em. At 8:05 this morning, it went to a 5-cent move towards the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow. And I know a lot of people blindly bet teams when they fire their manager. As we've spoken about, I don't think that's the same angle in baseball as it is in other sports. And to push that even further, it was Gas Station Sushi, who's in our chat right now down in Acapulco, who got me into not mentioning what happened yesterday. That was something I took from him, and I think it's helped me. It's helped me in the last year and a half that I've been doing that. I'm not really believing in momentum in baseball. And I know a lot of people, like if you listen to Pete Rose talk about betting on baseball, momentum is everything to him. Streaks are everything to him. And I'm not the same way here. But if it is a streak over 7 games, I want to talk about it. And if they switch cities, I want to fade it. Phillies, Blue Jays here. We're going to look at the money. 4,892 tickets in. 62% of the tickets and 72% of the cash is on the Phillies, and the market's now moving towards the Jays. I wonder if all the bets are coming in now on the Jays, and that could explain it. 55% of tickets are on the over. Zach Wheeler was excellent in those back-to-back starts against the Cardinals. Doesn't allow a run. He's been a little worse on the road than he has been at home. 3.66 ERA, 266 opponents batting average. But I just feel like he's on right now. And I just don't trust Ross Stripling. And he continues to pitch well. He just went 5 innings at Seattle, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk. He's been worse at home, 1-2, 3.51 ERA, 269 opponents batting average. Jays are still hitting 260, 759 OPS versus righties, where the Phillies are 245, 717 OPS. Jays bullpen continues to struggle and not be trusted. The Phillies bullpen has been quite good of late. Take it away here, Nolly. I'm on the Phillies first 5 in full game, minus 110 for each. What are your thoughts here, Phillies, Jays?
Yeah, definitely excited to talk about Zach Wheeler, a guy been phenomenal. Back-to-back starts against St. Louis, was able to shut them out both times out. Second time on the road, which is shown to be a question mark over the last 2 seasons. So able to silence some critics there, able to cash for me as well. I was on that game. So I'm happy to see him go again here. I think a tough spot still for Toronto, albeit maybe feeling a little looser. Maybe they're looking for a second half push, maybe splitting it. Maybe that was the first half of the season. And now second half of the season, we're letting the players know we're going to try to go for it. So maybe that is the outlier there. I'm trying to find a glimmer of hope of how they did it. Hopefully it works out for them. But Ross Stripling, I think, is a solid pitcher. I was going to say very good. I wouldn't go that far, but a guy that's been very serviceable and a guy that wants to start. So he's hungry to be out there. And I'd expect him to have a solid outing. And the reason being, Philadelphia Phillies really not hitting the ball really that well right now. 2.4 runs over the last 7 games, 213 batting average with a 351 slugging. You look, last 7 games under the total. They big part of that also being their pitching. They've allowed just 2.9 runs per game over the last 7. Bullpen, one of the top. They're number 2 over the last 3 weeks. Last 2 weeks, even better. They continue to pitch extremely well, and I'd expect them to have put together a strong performance against Toronto, albeit with the pitching change. I think Stripling will have a strong start. I think I see both these pitchers pitching well. The one question mark being the Toronto Blue Jays pitching bullpen. That's always a concern. 4 ERA over the last 3 weeks, so a little bit better than what they pitched actually recently, but still not all that great. But I'm leaning towards the under. I haven't pulled the trigger. I was thinking about doing it here on the show, but I don't know. It's tough for me. I've got 4 other plays here already on other games, so that's what makes it tough. I don't like to go too deep, but I like the under in this game.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense to me. Billy Friedrich's right. He says if you like the Phils, shouldn't we wait on a better line? I think so. I think you keep an eye on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. I think that makes a ton of sense here. Aaron 007 says Phillies had a bullpen game yesterday. May not be a huge deal with Wheeler pitching, but definitely would go first 5 on Philly bets. Rob Free, by the way, is on the Yankees minus 3.5, expecting Yankees to smash. Jack Rosenblatt says, I feel like Wheeler's on 2. I'm taking the Phillies on the money line.
Well, I think a big part of, Jim, a big part of what we've seen with the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen is the depth of what we're getting from the starting pitchers. And not just that, they're allowing them to go and stay out there. You saw Nola, even with four runs given up, they were allowing them to stay out there and eat up some outs. So I think they've been using them a little better and giving them longer leashes. So I still expect another 7 out of Wheeler. I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah, the getting the managerial changes worked very well in Philly, and there was a lot of people talking about Girardi not handling the pitching staff very well. All these managers who are being fired are handling the pitching staff so poorly. And you talked about the Tigers general manager, how well he's handling the bullpen. I mean, you see some managers just have a skill for it, and some don't. Robert Franklin says Blue Jays go to a funeral, manager fired the next day. Too much going on to be all the way focused on a game against Wheeler, leaning towards the Phillies. Okay, move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Boston Red Sox 47-41, 24-21 on the road. At the Tampa Bay Rays 47-40, 27-17 at home. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Look for Rob Free, Suns money line in WNBA. Mariners money line, Braves Mets full game under 9. And Bonzi, minus 265. It's a plus 390 parlay for Rob, and it's rolling right now. Mets are up 1-0. Wow, Sabino. Could be saving me. I think all you guys sort of saving me $150, getting me off that Braves first 5 minus a half, even if it does score. I've never had anybody in one of the shows say, you will never see me again if this game loses. It's haunting.
And my favorite thing is solo shot. I love those.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, for under bettors. All right, let's go. We have Josh Winkowski against Shane McClanahan. There was one of those situations that makes me very uncomfortable because I moved on McClanahan first 5 minus a half at minus 120. And it's one of those situations that make me uncomfortable is when you see bigger bets coming in on the Boston Red Sox. And that's what's happened. There's been a 25-cent move to the Rays, 160 to 185, and this total a 5-cent move towards the under. And then when we go over to the cash flow in this, we have 25% line value on the Boston Red Sox. It's changed now, but this morning, when I make tons of bets the night before, my eyes open and I go right to the computer and see where the cash is. It tells the tale if you're going to have a good day, I believe. And before the big bets were coming in on Boston, that's changed. But 26% of tickets, 24% of cash on the Red Sox, 59% of tickets, 66% cash on the under. I don't know what to do with Winkowski. I don't. 3-3, 4.35 ERA, 1.52 WHIP. He's allowed 12 walks in 31 innings. Coming off a 6-5 loss at home versus the Yankees. I know they're a tough team to go up against. 5 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 Ks, 5 walks. McClanahan coming off a 2-1 extra inning loss at the Reds. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 homer, 8 Ks, 2 walks, and a 2-1 extra inning loss. We talked about this spot a lot on Friday because Nolly was on the first 5 under. and the full game under. And we saw a lot of cappers who were also on McClanahan first 5 -0.5 and full game -1. And the idea is that what happens if Castillo pitches excellently? And that's what he did. And Nolly easily cashed his 2 bets, while anybody who was on the Rays in that spot lost both bets. And I lost on the Rays -1. At home, he's been good. He's been great everywhere. 7-2, 1.88 ERA, 193 upon his batting average. The Red Sox smash lefties, 271, 788 OPS, and the Rays do not hit righties, 233, 677 OPS. And the Rays bullpen has slipped up a little bit, while the Red Sox bullpen has been pitching very well. Overall, though, the Rays bullpen has better numbers than the Red Sox bullpen. Take it away here. Nolly knows Red Sox Rays.
Yeah, McClanahan, a big reason taking unders. The guy's been a stud all year long. If you look, you've been betting unders with him. You're 11-5 on the year. And when I look at his start last week was against Cincinnati, really he didn't have his best stuff. And that's crazy to say because he still goes 6 and gives up 1 run on 3 hits. Like, it's insane. And that one of the runs coming off the home run, so you say he only made 1 mistake, but he was having difficulty with the first pitch strike. Out of the first 5 innings, I believe it was like only 5 guys that got a first pitch strike. So he was pitching from behind throughout that entire game, and you see what he's still capable of. And I don't expect him to have back-to-back bad starts. That's just not the guy. So a bad start, and that's what he gives you. What happens when he's on today? He's had success against his Boston team. If you look, the last 3 starts against his Boston team, going 17 innings, only 2 earned runs. He had 7 strikes last time out on April 24th, going 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits. And I mean, the guy's a monster, and I'd expect nothing less. The difference here between last game and this game is the opponent. This isn't Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, I was confident in him going against a tough Tampa Bay team. And I say tough in that span. They've been putting up runs. This team is definitely clicking a lot more. They got Franco in the lineup. That makes a significant difference. And a team that was clicking. Winkowski, definitely a question mark. A guy that definitely has the confidence. He's ready to talk shit on Wrigley Field, on the Yankees lineup after they smacked them. But though definitely doesn't lack the confidence, but is he able to perform? Is he able to handle the control issues? The control issue is something that he's experienced in the minor leagues. You came to fruition last time out. And so for me, I think that's a concern with these youngsters. Does he get in his head? And Tampa Bay hitting the ball pretty well right now over the last 7 games. If you look at their numbers, I pull it up here. Last 7 games, averaging 5.4 runs per game, 273 batting average. So definitely hitting the ball. So that's my concern here with this game. The Boston Red Sox bullpen actually pitching significantly better. They're averaging over the last 21 days. I think they're about 9th in the major leagues in bullpen ERA. So they're pitching actually a lot better. And Tampa Bay is going to continue to pitch better in their bullpen as well. But McClanahan, I'd expect to go 6-7. Do I trust Winkowski? That's the question mark. I was leaning towards a good start. I was leaning towards a bounce back, just the confidence that the guy exerts, and he's shown abilities to do it. But it's hard for me to trust him. So I guess I'm rambling, not to make a play, but I'm telling you, why not, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. I got in on Rays first 5 -1/2 -120 last night. It's moved to -135 at bet 365 now. So I like beating that by 15 cents. Jedi for Life is on the Tampa Bay team total over here, and Tampa Bay -0.5, first 5 -0.5. Parlay Streets in the house. Thank you for joining us. We have the team total over 2.5 -125 for Saturated. T-Mac also on Tampa first 5 -0.5. I was going.
Brent Burns traded to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Wow. For what?
It came out a minute ago, so we'll figure that out.
Wow, that's got to make. Actually, come back, Jose. I'd like to hear your take on Winkowski here.
I'm suspended from the talking and betting on the Red Sox, unfortunately. So I'm not
go after that.
Yeah, no, I won that first 5, but the full game was my suspended or not bet. So yeah, I'm suspended. But Josh Winkowski has a great new bit now. Wherever he plays, you just talk shit about the other team after. It's great. It makes me laugh every time. Talk shit about the Cubs and Wrigley Field the first time. Said that the Yankees lineup last time was pretty average, which was hilarious after he got his shit rocked. And then now I hope that today he just like, oh my God, the fucking Trop is the worst. Or he compliments the Trop just to make fun of the Yankees. That would also be funny. But no, I do kind of. I saw someone. I think it was Jack Rosenblatt. I believe it was. He said that he accidentally bet a Red Sox team total over 2.5, and I thought that was hilarious because he couldn't cash out of it. But I don't hate that if it's at decent odds. But no thanks. Again, this Red Sox team, just like the Blue Jays, are just trying to limp and crawl into the All-Star break right now. So once that All-Star break comes, you get some rest, bullpen, and people start coming back. It'll be a good time for the Red Sox, but I'm suspended for 15 days starting today, not including the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Putting yourself on a little break from that, I think that makes sense. And Nolly, after your breakdown, now I know you kind of explained why you weren't on, but it still felt like you were close to that Rays first 5 minus a half. Was it a really close spot that you almost pulled the trigger on?
Yeah, definitely. Just the fact that other action that I like slightly more. I don't try to go too thin. I try to keep it to 3 plays a day. Win 2 out of 3, and let's move on to tomorrow. But sometimes I get a little crazy. But so I try to keep my action down. It's a long season, but I definitely like it. I hear it, and I even hearing myself. I'm like, maybe I should. But I'm not going to let you do it to me, Jim. I'm not going to let you.
Okay. Let's move on from I am on the Rays first 5 minus half minus 120. We move on to 7:10 p.m.
By the
Eastern.
way, quickly, here's your trade return there from Mike M. I have not seen it on Twitter, but I do not follow the NHL insiders because I'm a baseball guy. So yeah, there's your thing real quick.
It feels like they did not give up very much, but.
Oh, and Ilya Mikheyev, 4-year deal to the Vancouver Canucks. 4 years, $4.75 million.
We are very, very, very excited. We have the KHL looks like it's going to be very, very good to us this year. We're very, very excited. We have the best player in the entire KHL is going to be on our team next year, which is we saw what Kaprizov did, and his numbers are barely better. All right, let's move on here. White Sox, Guardians. Mike M says seems like a steal for the Canes. That makes me think that maybe Burns isn't exactly who we think he is. It's almost a red flag instead of a steal. Wow, 4-0 Mariners. Jesus. Okay, White Sox at guard, but it was solo shot, Nolly. White Sox, Guardians, Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Giolito versus Savali. I was right about Savali in his last start, and I lost the bet. He was great, and somehow the Guardians bullpen got beaten by the Royals bullpen, and I'm still fucking livid about it. It was on Friday, and I'm really angry. I'm really angry about it. And I would not surprise me if Savali keeps pitching well at home. But I'm nervous about betting it. White Sox, Guardians, let's go. First, we're going to talk about the weather in Cleveland. And it's 76 Fahrenheit, 9.1 miles per hour in, dies down to 4.7. So it dies down. It's not as heavy as it might seem. Then we'll take a look at the line history in this White Sox Guardians spot. And we have opening at minus 120 for the White Sox. It's now a pick'em. And from a total perspective, it opened up at 8.5. It's now 8. I wonder if that's market sort of telling us that both pitchers will have a good start, because it's shocking to me that I feel like there's a better chance that Savali has a good start at home than Giolito on the road. 6,493 tickets in. There is like a sliver. 1% of line value on the White Sox. 52% of the tickets, 83% of the cash is on the White Sox. And the market's moved against them. 48% tickets, 74% cash on the under. Now 5-0. Jesus. Take it away here, Nolly. But let me just actually touch on Giolito quickly here. Last start, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 8 Ks, 2 walks, and a 7-5 loss at home to the Tigers. He's actually been better on the road than he has been at home. 3-2, 4.86 ERA, 264 opponents batting average. The Guardians versus righties, 258, 723 OPS versus righties. The White Sox, 245, 658 OPS. We're waiting for that to change. Still waiting for it to change. Guardians bullpen, 3.83 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. White Sox, and this Guardians bullpen was incredible for so long, and it's just really fallen off over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the White Sox bullpen is pitching a little better finally. Take it away, Nolly, White Sox Guardians.
Yeah, this was a little tricky for me. Giolito, a little bit tricky to kind of figure out. Went to that short arm action, really changed a lot of things for him. And then recently, he seems to his command just seems to kind of hit a switch, and he just turns it off. And so last time out, he actually didn't pitch all that bad against the Detroit Tigers. Line just a little more inflated than what you've seen. And then before that, put together 2 really quality starts. Now faces a Cleveland team that he's had success against in the past. Last time out against them earlier this year, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, and even 2 starts prior to that, only gave up 1 run and 11 in the 3rd inning. So the guys had really good success against this Cleveland team. So I'd expect him to actually pitch well today. The other side of Savali is the big question mark for me. He has been throughout the year. He's shown capabilities of putting things together, but then he gets lit up. And you see that and even in his history against the Chicago White Sox. Last year, he went 6 innings, 1 hit, 5 earned runs, and then the next time couldn't get out of the second inning. 1 2/3, 7 earned runs on 7 hits, 4 home runs. So I think the opposite. I'm leaning towards Chicago White Sox on the first 5, but hard for me to trust Giolito start in and start out. But I think he puts together a good one.
I guess that will keep me off. This would be Tribe or Guardians first 5 or no bet. I think Savali's going to be bet on in these situations. And with all the money moving on the White Sox and the market moving towards the Guardians, but I mean, I get what you're saying here, going to the batter versus pitcher and looking at what Giolito did earlier in the year. Is it possible that Giolito has a strong second half? Do you think this is a real legitimate possibility?
Well, without a doubt. The guy has shown he can be a bit of a roller coaster, but he can definitely turn it on. And like I mentioned, I think he's put together 3 really good starts the last 3 times out against Detroit. Ended up getting hit late in that outing and giving some runs up there. So I thought he looked pretty good in there. So I'd expect him to pitch well.
And look at Jimenez 500 against him. Robert for 455 against them. Tim Anderson 412 against Savali 412. So okay, that's easy. I got enough action, and I'm starting the day poorly, so I will move on. But I agree. I agree with Parlay Streets, who says very good spot for home value with the Guardians. I agree with that. Billy Friedrich on vacation in Charlottesville. Enjoy, my guy. Do it up. Enjoy. Got the gas station at Acapulco. You over in Charlottesville. Nice to know. Nice to see you guys on vacation. Ron Crawford says over. Fireside says, I'm done with baseball after Gray gives up 3 home runs today. Back to fight tape. And Ronnie and Bergia says, I jumped on the women's soccer double draw. I hope it goes for you guys. All right, let's roll on. Next up, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, Los Angeles Dodgers at St. Louis Cardinals, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. We have Tony Gonsolin going up against Adam Wainwright. Gonsolin has been spectacular this year, and we've been making a ton of money off of him, and I'm not stopping. I know that on the 11-0, 1.62 ERA, 0.80 whip, he's been so good this year. And he's not been as good on the road, 4-0, 2.21 ERA, 186 opponent's batting average. But I just like this spot. There's R2D2, Finland, loving the start of the huge. He gave us a plus 600 and a plus 480 was what he gave us. I love it, R2D2, Finland. Wainwright on the other side, he's been really good this year. He just keeps pitching at a high level. Wainwright, 6-7, 3.15 ERA, 1.21 whip. In his last start, he went complete 9 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 solo shots, 3 Ks, no walks, and a 2-0 loss at home versus the Phillies. And he only threw 103 pitches, so he didn't extend himself too bad. So there's no concern there. And at home, he's been even better. 3-3, 2.21 ERA, 226 opponent's batting average. So I moved on the first 5 under 4 at minus 115 last night. I'd be curious to see what it is here. And let's just pull it up right now. Now it is at it's now at minus 105. That's interesting because it had moved to 3.5, and I was like, oh yes, I beat this line move. I'm also on the Dodgers first 5 minus 0.5. I got that at minus 110. Be curious to see what that is right now. It is now first 5 here, minus 110. It's now minus 120. I guess that makes me feel a little better. Gas Station Sushi says Dodgers classically overpriced in this spot. I was on the Cardinals yesterday, but I didn't realize there was a pitching change, and it really angered me. It really, really angered me losing that bet. I didn't lose it, but having that bet get voided. Let's take a look at this line history because I want to see if it did move to 7.5 here. Gonsolin Wainwright. We have no movement on the full game. On the total, it did. There was a 5-cent move to the under at 6:15 p.m. last night. And then at 8:20 a.m., there was a move to the over, minus 120 to the over. R2D2 Finland also on Dodgers in the under. Jack Rosenblatt on the Dodgers. Boost Money says Dodgers full game, leading Dodgers first 5. Eric Jones says over here, 15% home run boost. And then let's just see where the cash is to make me even more uncomfortable. God, I can't believe I didn't. There is slight line value according to Sports Insights on the Cardinals here. Slight, 10%, maybe 8%. 13%. Look at this. 87% of the tickets and 95% of the cash are on the Dodgers, and the line's not moving. I mean, that's just a red flag. And it's a complete pick 'em for the total. 51% of tickets on the under, 50% cash on the under. That scares me, but I've made my move and I'm sticking with it. Let's hear what Noley has to say about this. Dodgers, Cardinals were in Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. And did I give out the weather here? Sorry, I might not have done that. 4.5 miles per hour left to right, 91 at first pitch, and dies down to 3.8, but does become in, but not very strong. Take it away here, Noley. Dodgers, Cardinals.
Yeah. I mean, in reference to the weather, I don't believe just hot weather just going to create offense. If you look at that game with Wainwright last time out, it was like 100 degrees. So that's just something that I just don't really worry about. I think it can deaden the ball, but it's not just going to create offense. Wind blowing out at Wrigley is something, but just 100 degrees just doesn't mean as much to me. But here, Dodgers been hot. Winners of 11 of the last 13 games, third in weighted runs created plus. Team that really playing well, but a tough task here going against Adam Wainwright. You mentioned it last time out, going to that complete game. More importantly, not going a lot of pitches, was pitching to contact a lot, only got 3 strikeouts, and that's something that he's had to do here later in his career. I'm a big fan of Wainwright, specifically like you mentioned here at home. 2.21 ERA, and that's something that you've seen throughout his career. These numbers are almost identical throughout his career at St. Louis. So I'd expect him to have another solid start against the Dodgers. He's faced the Dodgers recently, going 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Previously went 8 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs, but again, late in that game. So he gave the team more than a chance to win, and I'd expect him to pitch well here at home. He continues to do it, and not to mention the St. Louis Cardinal team been pitching extremely well. Their bullpen, they've been lights out. They've been trending towards the under as well. Been an under machine for me, and so I'd expect them to pitch well. The other side, Gonsolin, I mean, the guy continues to do his thing. He just keeps writing it in, 1 earned run or 2 earned runs every single time. Cardinals really not hitting the ball right now. Cardinals are losers of 8 of their last 12 games. A big part of why it's been going under, they haven't hit, and they've been pitching extremely well. You look at their numbers over the last 7 games, averaging just 2.9 runs per game, 227 batting average, and a 339 slugging, 6-1 to the under in that span. So team that's really trending towards the under. Dodgers bullpen pitching well as well. I'm on the under here. I took the under 8. I saw the movement as well. I thought we'd be sitting at a 7.5 right now. Maybe the weather or maybe somebody smarter than me, but I like the under.
Yeah, I do too. You're getting it with no vig now. God, I just want action so badly, and a couple of these spots here. I think I was screwed backing Josiah Gray here. I think that I couldn't get away from that for whatever reason, but I could have easily got off this Dodgers spot had I seen all this money on them and no market move towards them. Lee Davis on the cards, and I get it. The under, though, is something I'm very much hoping will cash, and everything was wow. I know that you don't have, like, you've been screwed here on when you bet an 8.5 and it's got, you made it 8 official here. So and there is our guy Sabino and Guano in the house. They prayed on my downfall. Oh,
Yeah, 4-0.
yeah, I love it, Sabino. I love it. I can get you an 8.5 here at -112, and I know that you cannot take it because you bet the 8, and that's totally valid. But you're going to get screwed over here a lot. So the times where you actually get an advantage, I do think that you should take for my own record keeping purposes.
I think that's more like a punch in the gut. Like, oh, you lost money, but you won on the show. Hey, here's a trophy.
Okay. You want the 8 at +100?
Yeah, that's good for me. I got -105 last night. So
all right. Nolly is on the under 8 at +100. You are a class act. And Sabino, this is one of the most fun things that we've had on the show. So I just love it. Look at all the guys. It was so dramatic. No, it's gone. It was so dramatic that a whole bunch of people tailed it. I love it. Okay, we move on to 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore Orioles 44 and 44, 19 and 27 on the road, and coming up fast. 9 straight wins for these Orioles. At the Chicago Cubs, 34 and 53, 17 and 28 at home. We're at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. D. Jenkins says had to tail Sabino after calling his shot. Wow, so cool. Okay, let's go over to the weather at Wrigley, and it is 71 Fahrenheit, 11.2 miles per hour in. It dies down to 9.6. Not really dying down. 7.2 to 9.6 in. Let's take a look at the line history in this Orioles-Cubs spot. We have Watkins versus Steele. There has been a 20-cent move to the Cubs. I mean, this is the same thing that we saw yesterday, and that didn't stop the Orioles from continuing to win. This total was opened at -115 to the over, got up to -120. It's back to a pick 'em. Let's check out the cash flow with this 20-cent move to the Cubs. We have, pull this up here. It's going to be down the bottom. Here we go. So this is the spot I told you guys about. There was only one spot on the card, and I know B-Lab69 tracks these things, and we love that he does it. Full line value, according to Sports Insights, on the Chicago Cubs. So you have 32% of the tickets on the Chicago Cubs and 80% of the cash. And it's starting to become clear with the success of the spots where Sports Insights indicates that there's full line value on the team that people must just blindly bet them. 32% of tickets, 80% of the cash. Then you have 75% of tickets and 95% of the cash on the under, and yet there's been a 10-cent move to a pick'em. Eric Jones says under 8.5 Cubs minus 20% home run boost with the wind blowing in. Okay, so let's take a look at Watkins quickly. Coming off a really nice start at home over the Rangers. 6 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 1 walk. He's been a little better on the road than he's been at home. 4.01 ERA, 2.23 opponent's batting average. And then you have Justin Steele, who's been better at home. 3-3, 3.14 ERA, 2.36 opponent's batting average. Coming off 5-2 extra inning loss at the Brewers, but it wasn't on him. He was excellent. 6 2/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 9 Ks, 4 walks. Does walk a few too many batters. 76 to 36 K to walk ratio. Orioles don't hit lefties. 231, 676 OPS. Cubs are righties. 247, 715 OPS. Orioles bullpen so much better than the Cubs bullpen. Do you really want to get in the way of this Orioles train? The numbers tell you that we should. Let's see if Nolly is going to do it. Orioles, Cubs, take it away.
A difficult spot. I think when we see a lot of that action, what I've seen over the last couple of years that I've shared more action. I used to just be real secretive, like my play's mine. I don't, but now being with Jimmy, he forces me to share. And I've seen a lot of other people's action. And what I've noticed in these spots is that people tend to fade that streak. They'll see a team rattle off 7 wins and they're going to fade it. They'll lose today and they'll go right back on it tomorrow, So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, because also Chicago Cubs been on a streak of themselves just the other way. Losers of 5 straight, really haven't produced that much. If you look at their games, they've scored 3 runs or less in 8 of their last 12 games. So if you look last 7 games, it looks like they're producing, but they're really not, hitting 207 and a 371 slugging, So a team of Chicago Cubs that really hasn't been hitting the ball here, facing a guy that's been pitching really well the last 3 games, just a 1.02 ERA. He's got 17 and 2/3, only 2 earned runs. So the guy's been pitching really well, going against a team that hasn't been. And we talk about the win there in Wrigley Field is a big factor, almost reaching the magic number of 10. Reaches that number of 10, the under's hitting almost 65% at Wrigley Field. There's a reason why they hold off those totals until the day of, so this is one of the reasons. And so I definitely got to lean towards the under. Both pitchers have been pitching pretty well as of late. Justice Steele, like you mentioned, pitching much better at home. And so I'm leaning towards the under, just a little difficult for me. There's better pitchers and whatnot, but amazing run that the Baltimore Orioles are on. And crazy to see that AL East, and nobody has a losing record. That's something that's pretty amazing to see, and it's a tough division. They're going to beat up on each other. So just to give you an idea of how good they've been outside the division, so for me, ultimately, though, I lean towards the under. If I see the wind uptick or maybe watch it a little bit earlier, see how it's looking, maybe jump on it later. But as of right now, nothing.
They're still offering me this first 5 under 4.5. It's juiced, but I'm surprised that it's still being offered. Very surprised. I'd be curious to see what Pinnacle is doing with this. I think that's a nice look, that first 5 under 4.5. I like Steele at home. And the first half over at Pinnacle, they've moved it to 4. But if you want to pay for the 4.5, it's minus 126. I like this first 5 under 4.5. Do you trust what we've been seeing out of Spencer Watkins? Because I'm pretty confident with Justin Steele at home. It's Spencer Watkins I'd be a little uncomfortable with. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the way he's looked, not over dominant, but going against, like I mentioned, a Cubs team that just not trusted right now. Baltimore Orioles have beat the last 4 lefty starters in a row. So it's still a team that's been riding hot, hard to fade up. But I just think getting involved, I like the full game being with the Baltimore Orioles bullpen and the wind. Wind is the biggest factor at Wrigley.
I think I'm going to move on that. I think I'm going to be adding Jose, my man. What up?
Sergachev, 8 years, $8.5 million AAV to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
God, this is just wild. The term. I guess there's no way around it. I guess there's just no way around it. These players are just demanding term on their contracts. But I mean, if you're going to give term to someone, you give it to these younger players. And he's a hell of a defenseman. Oh, wow. Okay, 8:05 p.m. That was Orioles Cubs. We move on to Oakland Athletics at Texas Rangers. How do you not bet Paul Blackburn first 5 on this game? Am I simplifying everything too much? I bet it at plus 160. I just don't. How do you not see a implied probability situation with Blackburn on the road? For the life of me, I was like, I have to bet this. It comes to a point where I just, and then you see the market moving away from me. I'm like, I don't know why or how you would think that at plus 160, you're talking that 38.46% of the time, Blackburn against Gray, that only 38.6% of the time the A's are going to win the first 5. I mean, I had to trade, it's looking at Fanatical Jim saying why they traded McDonough. Yeah, but I had to bet this. So I bet the first 5 plus 160. And then sitting with it all morning and going over it, I was like, well, I have to bet the first 5 under 4 too, because I like the way John Gray's been pitching. I know he's coming off a 6-5 win at home versus the Twins where he allowed 5 runs, but only 3 of which were earned. 8 Ks, 1 walk. I like the way the Gray Wolf has looked this year. 4.03 ERA, 1.21 whip, 91 Ks in 82 2/3. So you have Blackburn, who is a 3.36 ERA, 1.20 whip on the year, but on the road, he's 5-0 with a 1.28 ERA and a 2.11 opponent's batting average. You have John Gray, who's undefeated at home with a 3.80 ERA, 250 opponent's batting average. The A's are hitting just 207, 588 OPS versus righties. The Rangers don't hit righties as well. 238, 678 OPS. Rangers bullpen's been so good this year. A's has been very questionable, but they've invested nothing in it. So I ended up moving on the first 5 under 4.5. Was it 4.5? Under 4, excuse me. I moved on the under 4. So let's just talk about the weather here quickly. It's going to be, the roof's going to be up, so we don't need to worry there. Then we have the line history in this one. And at first, the market moved towards the A's. And I was like, well, of course it's moving towards the A's. But then it stopped, and it stopped dramatically, and it just made me nervous. So it's back. Okay, it's back. It's fine. So it's exactly where it started. A's plus 165, and the total has dropped to 7.5, and it's now juiced to minus 127.5. So let's see where the cash lies here. 6,556 tickets in. 34% of the tickets, 66% of the cash on the A's, of course. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. And then 30% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on the under. And like, I just want to sit here and say, of course. How could it not be? I mean, let's just see what it would be at this Bet 365 right now. If I was to bet it right now, the first 5 is still up under 4, minus 120, and it's now plus 155. So everything here points to these two bets being winning bets. But, I mean, I can't sit here and be too confident. A's, Rangers, Nolly, take it away.
I don't know. I'm not too sold in this game. I'll tell you, Paul Blackburn coming off of one of his roughest outings of the season. And I do talk about the bounce back starts, but just the way that the Texas Rangers are producing runs right now, it's a little bit different. And he struggled against them last season when he pitched against them. I'm having difficulties bringing it up, but here it is. He went 2 2/3, gave up 4 earned runs on 6 hits. So, and 0 home runs. So they were really able to produce a lot of runs against him. And on the other side, John Gray, poor track record against the Oakland A's. I mean, he's pitched significantly better as of late. A guy that does have the swing and miss stuff. It just, sometimes he just gets lit up for an inning or two. And then they'll still leave him out there. He'll eat up some innings. But so obviously a good pitcher. But last 2 starts, he's gone 8 1/3 innings, giving up 10 earned runs against this Oakland A's team. Gave up 5 earned runs against Oakland the last time out. They're still able to win the game in an 8-5 game, still going 6 innings, something that I mentioned. So that's my one concern. We talk about this. Oakland really not hitting the ball the last 7 days, hitting 200. No surprise, 341 slugging, right about their average on the season. So really a team that's hard to trust consistently, and ultimately a team I'm not trusting with my money. I'd lean towards getting some people getting some hits here today. I don't like the first 5 under, and I'm off the game.
Well, it scares me. It scares me very, very much. It's funny.
Early 8 years to the Tampa Bay Lightning again. 6.25 million.
6.25. Wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, Andrew G, the roof will be up on. So, wow, that's a lot of money for Australia. I like them, though, but look at the term these guys are getting. I got to stop saying that, but Jesus. That scares me. And Joe Yurkovich, I couldn't get the A's first 5, plus a half, plus 105. It was offered to me last night, first 5, plus a half at minus 110. A 70-cent difference. And then now it's at minus 115. So, well, that makes me very nervous, Nolly. Damn. That's why you were laughing when you were about to start. It makes me extremely uncomfortable.
No, man. I'm making bets, man. I was laughing at myself. I'm a degenerate.
Right, I don't believe you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's move on. 8:40.
I laugh at you in secret.
Okay. San Diego Padres 50-39, 27-19 on the road at the Colorado Rockies, 39-49, 24-22 at home. We're at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. This was the game I really wanted to hear from you. Matt Pollan says, man, I love this card. Usually a bad sign. Maybe I'm going to think about that comment over and over again because I love this card too. And look what it started out for me. Viper says Padres first 5 minus a half, minus 120 locked in last night. We saw Domi Gunricci already move on this Padres first 5 minus a half as well. Let's start with the weather at Coors. At Coors, 96 Fahrenheit. Wow. It's not been that hot there the last few days, but it's hot. Very hot tonight. It's 9.8 miles per hour left to right. And then an hour into the game, it's left to right and it's in a tiny bit. But after 2 hours, it's out. to right center at 7.3 miles per hour. And that's what I love about Swish Analytics is that they let us know the hours, how it changes each hour. And that's been very helpful. Fireside said the Rocks hit Musgrove. Rocks hit Musgrove. Let's pull up the line history here and see what we are dealing with in this Colorado Rockies spot. Musgrove, cool. We have a 15-cent move to the Padres, minus 155 to minus 170. That all makes sense. And it opened at 10.5, juice to the over. There was a 5-cent move to the under, and then it came back. So there's been no movement there. So 15 cents to the Padres, no movement on the total. Let's see if that correlates with where the cash is. We have 7,401 tickets in. Look at this. 13% of the tickets and 42% of the cash is on the Colorado Rockies. Wow. Then 46% of tickets and 96% of cash on the under. Whew. Very, very, very interesting. Musgrove coming off a 2-1 extra inning win at home over the Giants. He had a great start. 7 innings, 1 hit, no one run, 6 Ks, and 4 walks. It was very impressive. On the road, he's been excellent this year. 5-1 with a 2 ERA, 195 opponent's batting average. Chad Kuhl has been. Oh, I didn't put it in, but sorry, I don't have it. I'll pull up his splits. For some reason, I didn't write it in. But he's been very good at home. And he's been good all year. 6-5, 4.02 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's been very surprising. Coming off a 6-5 win at the Diamondbacks. And I went on the over when it was him versus Zach Gallen. And I ended up taking the full game over 9, but I liked the first 5. I thought there were going to be runs in that game. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Padres rating just 238, 682 OPS versus righties. Rockies don't hit righties either. Thin air, doesn't matter. 243, 688 OPS. Padres bullpen's been good this year, and Loshak's numbers have them as, top 10. 3.74 ERA, 1.15 whip. Rockies bullpen, 4.74 ERA, 1.40 whip. Joe Yurkovich got the Padres' first 3 minus a half at plus 110 last night. There's our guy Millsy in the house. Take it away, Nolly. I really wanted to hear your breakdown of this one. Musgrove, cool.
Yeah, Musgrove been looking really good. Had that one hiccup against Phillies. We talked about that coming off that rough stint with COVID, but albeit just that one bad inning. Strong outing against San Francisco and actually against these Colorado Rockies has pitched extremely well. You look 17 and a third innings over the last 3 starts against them, only 1 earned run. Last time out, June 10th, went 6 innings, only gave up 4 hits, 8 strikeouts to 2 walks. Previous time had 11 outings to just 1 walk. So he's pitched extremely well against Colorado, 1.21 ERA in that span. And so I'd expect another strong outing. Colorado really not hitting the ball right now over the last 7 days, hitting just 209 with a 372 batting average, 5-2 to the under in that span. And here, Chad Kuhl, I think that's the question mark. He struggled against some of the National League West teams. I like to say all of them, but got the Dodgers for a complete game there. I want to make a lot of excuses, but there just simply isn't. He pitched a hell of a game. The one thing, though, here against San Diego, he got hit hard the last time out against them. Let me find it here. He gave up 8 hits in 4 1/3 innings and 5 earned runs. That was on the road. You mentioned it. Has pitched better at home. You look at his 3.27 ERA and 5-1 to the under. The guy's been an under machine on the season, still 10-5 overall. And really, San Diego Padres dead last in isolated power. A team really struggling to hit the ball for power. 326 slugging over the last 7 days, hitting just 232, averaging 2.8 runs per game. 4-3 to the under in that span. I keep mentioning the one word under. I like the San Diego Padres bullpen. I actually expect Chad Kuhl to have a much better start against the Padres this time out. I know he's been struggling as of late, but feels much comfortable at home. I like the full game under 10.5 here.
Yeah, and it seems like that's where all the sharp money is.
Cernak signs with the Tampa Bay Lightning, 8 years, 5.2 per.
Wow, I can't wait to go over all these signings. Yeah, James Lowe, I'm on it, but it was not blessed by Nolly knows. Neither was the first 5 under. He thinks there's going to be runs. It makes me nervous. The under 10.5. God, I kind of like these spots where the weather is saying that is good, that's very offensive, and then you see all the sharp money on the under, not caring about the weather. I find that the weather can be overvalued at times, and
I think for offense, I think a little bit. You can't always just expect it to be there. But I mean, it does influence at times. That wind's blowing out at Wrigley Field. There's no way I'm looking at an under.
well, you're going to get even money on this under 10.5. So that's your second even money, no vig situation on the total. Nolly is on the under 10.5. And then for this I really want to know. I guess again it's because your stats are all full game. Because I would think that you would look at this and not want to have much to do with the Rockies bullpen, and I would think that the first 5 would be much more appealing here with Cool and Musgrove.
Pirates can't hit. That's just.
You mean Padres?
Not Pirates. Padres. Sorry,
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Padres just can't hit, and I haven't trusted them. The power hasn't been there. If you got power numbers, I'm gonna be concerned in Colorado, but power hasn't been there. Sorry, Moose.
Okay. Well, let's keep rolling here. We have Nolly locked in on the under 10.5 at plus 100. God, it feels like all that sharp money is there on this under. I find it very, very appealing. I'm going to take a look at this. So the under 10.5 is plus 100. First 5's at 6, but it's juiced, heavily juiced. But are you telling me there's going to be 7 runs against these great pitchers? Okay. All right. Let's keep rolling. Parlay Street says 1 bad inning, Colorado can kill another. I hear you, but I think I can trust these 2 pitchers. Let's just take one look at the batter versus pitcher before we get into the final game on the card here. Batter versus pitcher, Musgrove, Cool. So Blackman gets the Musgrove. So does Garrett Hampson. That does not concern me. And then against Cool, Machado 375 with a jack. I think Cool's just a different pitcher this year. Has Cool faced them this year? Just quickly move over to this. We'll be on this.
Hard.
Yeah, you got hit hard.
Yeah. 8 hits, 5 runs.
And where was it? In the thin air, or was it in San Diego?
In San Diego.
Yeah, and
against Musgrove.
Against Musgrove. Well, but the Padres just aren't hitting, as you said, and look at his numbers at home: 3-2, 3.27 ERA. T-Mac, I've yet to pull the trigger on anything. Still working on it and diligently working. I almost moved on the Ticats minus 6.5, but I would prefer to back them first quarter, first half again. And it's not available for me to bet yet. So it's not up. I bet so I don't know if it's now up, but not yet, T-Mac. Okay, let's move on to a game where the market moved heavily against me. Houston Astros at LA Angels. Astros, Angels. Let's break this down. Christian Javier going up against Shohei Ohtani. So this wasn't about Javier's last start where he got touched at home against the Royals, because he's been so good this year, and you can have a bad start and bounce back. 6-4, 3.01 ERA, 0.99 whip on the year. He's been worse on the road, slightly, but legitimately. 2-1, 3.56 ERA, 207 opponent's batting average. Shohei's looked so good, and he's looked so good at home. So I knew that I was paying a premium to have him first 5, and maybe I was paying too much. But it's moved so heavily against me that's made me extremely uncomfortable. It's now -1. It's a 15-cent move against me. It was just a bad bet. As soon as it came out, I took the Angels first 5 -135. And looking back at it, it was dumb. I mean, the Astros are so much better than the Angels, but he has so much control over the outcome. Now, the one thing is, did well was I got the first 5 under 4 at -120. It's now under 3.5 at -105. So I'm happy that I got there. But this makes me uncomfortable. Makes me just, I guess it was just dumb. I should have realized that was too much of a premium, I guess. So let's talk about the weather first. In Anaheim, 75 Fahrenheit, 9.1 miles per hour out. Goes down to 6.8. I'm going to refresh that and see if that changes at all because I haven't refreshed it now in like almost 2 hours. No, yes, it does. It starts dying off a little earlier. So 6.7 by the end of the game, but I'll be out of it because I'm only in the first 5 here. Now let's take a look at the line history in this one. The final game on our card, Javier versus Otani. And it opened, as I said, at minus 135 full game. Went down to minus 120, back to minus 125, then back to minus 120. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5. It's now 7. I like seeing that. That's helpful. And then cash flow, I think, will tell the story here. For all of the cash, we have 8,271 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the Astros. Markets move towards them. Then 25% of tickets, 48% of cash on the over. Makes me a little uncomfortable. All right, let's hear. Oh, and then bullpen advantage, obviously enormous for the Astros. But the Angels are not hitting righties. I mean, they were second in the league 6 weeks into the year against righties, just behind the Dodgers. Both LA teams were right there. Now they're hitting 230, 695 OPS versus righties. Astros 244, 757 OPS. Take it away here. Nolly knows Astros Angels.
Yeah, start of another series here, and the Angels looking to break another record, set the record for most strikeouts in a 3-game set last time out against this team. And here they face Christian Javier to start out again, the guy that started it off. And Christian Javier, you've seen it when he's in a bounce back spot. I mentioned it a few times earlier, and he had it twice earlier in the year. And he faced Texas, a team that he's had success against, a team that's in his division, and he fared well again, going 6 innings at least in each of those starts, giving up 2 runs or less. Here he faces the Angels team that he's very familiar with, and he's had a lot of success against. You look, last time out, recorded 14 strikeouts, going 7 innings, 1 hit. But last year also had success, 5 innings, 0 runs, 5 2/3 and 3 earned runs. So, but like you mentioned, Angels really struggling. Mike Trout coming out of the game yesterday with back spasms. Maybe not see him in the lineup here. Haven't been able to check that. Been busy right here, my guy Jimmy. But we'll be checking that briefly to see. But I really don't expect him to be in the lineup. Why put him in there, you know? And so I think Christian Javier, more of an advantage to him. That's going to affect him. That's 1, 2, 3 bats. You know what I mean? And Houston Astros on the road, most profitable team to the under, 31-14 to the under. 68.9%. And the Angels, Shohei Ohtani, you know, guy's been lights out. Last 3 starts, hasn't allowed a single run. Fared well against Houston after getting lit up last year. Has had pitched 10 2/3 innings, allowed 1 earned run, 5 total hits in those 2 games combined, 21 strikeouts in those 2 games combined to just 2 walks. So he's got a lot of confidence going against this Houston Astros team, and good pitching is going to be good hitting. And something that you've seen a lot with Shohei Ohtani in his outings, the unders hit 5 2 in his home starts, and something that maybe a lot of people might not think and might not really know. The Angels, I almost said it. The Anaheim Angels are the most profitable team to the under at home this season, hitting 61%, 25-16 to the under. One way for me to look was under the total, but the big problem, I got the 7.5. I just won't recommend the 7 in this game. 7.5 being a very key number for me. 7 is a lot of games end in 7. So I'm on the 7.5. If you get there eventually, I would do it, but I wouldn't expect it to go back up.
No, I don't expect it to go back up either. Let's see what Pinnacle's hanging at, just out of curiosity here. This 7.5, if you wanted it. Oh, yeah, way too expensive. Minus 133. LJ from H-Town says, I'm not scared. Astros plus 105, first 5 money line. Astros first 5. Oh, over. The over 3.5 at minus 115. Astros money line full game plus 101. I don't like seeing that, and the confidence, because we saw what Sabino's confidence gave him. Give him a casher, so that makes me very nervous. Okay, that is our MLB card today. Tomorrow, don't forget, we're only going to be capping baseball for an hour 45 because it's opening day at Saratoga. So I'll be live for 11 hours straight because after the MLB show, we'll be live for 9 hours hammering horses. So don't forget, we're going to be hammering horses. Let's review all action here. 12:05 p.m., the Pimp Slap play of the day. Nationals, first 5 under 5. And, sorry, that's...
You got to put him on. Sorry. The guys in the chat know.
Yeah, because
Nolly's sweating out an under right now, and it's
you got to put him on. Put him on first base. Just take your fucking base.
Yeah, you got to put Soto on. Come on. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Nolly sweating on the under. I will review all action. Nolly is got the under 8 live in Mets Atlanta, and you guys kept me off of losing on the Braves there. Thank you. Also, Razor's on that under 8. Razor's also on the Brewers money line. Jose's first say hey play of the day is Twins first 5 -1/2 plus 116. I jumped on the Twins first 5 during the show. What's going on in that game? 0-0 in the bottom of the second. Okay. Then Tigers Royals. I think Schoolwall can pitch well here, but do I want a 4? I mean, no. So I stayed off that game. Jose's on the Diamondbacks is play of the day number 2 for say hey first 5 plus 103. I'm going to move on the first 5 under in Pittsburgh, Miami. I'm not on it at this point. Nolly's on the under 7 to -110, and I like Brubaker. I like Brubaker enough to hammer it. Our guy El Dorado, custodian in the house, giving a shout out to Mike M and the Pimp Slap play of the day. R2D2 Finland's on Philly first 5 and the under. We're going to get to that in a second because we have more say hey magic. And that, of course, is there's a -300 on the board. So he's on the Reds first 5 plus 250, full game plus 280. I'm on the Phillies first 5 at -110 and full game -110. And I'll say it again. I don't trust Stripling. Maybe I should just stop it because he's got a 3.34 ERA, 1.16 whip, and looks very good. So maybe I should just let it go.
Yeah, Jared, I think I'm going to be pulling the trigger there in that game on under 8.
On the Phillies-Jays game. Is that something that you want to make official here?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and make it official. I saw 115. I got to wait till after this.
-104 at Pinnacle.
All right. Yeah, let's put it in. I'm going to put it in right now after this.
Nolly's on the under 8 at -104. Okay. No, we're not, Daryl. We're not sold on it. I think the overwhelming feeling was that the timing was poor. Coming back from the funeral, winning a game, and this should have been done at the All-Star break. And the only thing I could think of is Atkins saying, "Well, what happens if we sweep the Phillies?" That's the only thing I can imagine that went through their breakdown. I'm on the Rays first 5 -1/2 at -120. That's with McClanahan. White Sox Guardians, I stayed off. I like that breakdown a lot. Nolly's on the under 8 in the Dodgers Cards game. I'm on the under first 5 under 4 -115 in the Dodgers first 5 -1/2. I'm going to add the first 5 under 4.5 in Orioles Cubs. I'm on the Athletics first 5 at +160 and Oakland, Texas first 5 under 4 at -120. That was not backed by Nolly, which I was hoping it was. Nolly's on the under 10.5 at +100 in San Diego, Colorado, and I'd like to get in with Musgrove and Cool. I'd like to get in on that first 5 under 6. Then in Houston, LA, I'm on the Angels first 5 and the Houston Angels first 5 under 4. And that is today's card. R2D2 Finland, been great having you back in action last couple of days. Can't wait for KHL and all European hockey from you, my man. Thank you guys so much. Moose Money, I have a new kind of a schedule that I'm putting together, and you will be on it come the second half of the season after the All-Star break. I'd like to get Moose Money on the show. Great MLB capper. Viper NB is tailed Nolly on the under 7 in Miami, Pittsburgh. Well, I'll be rolling with that as well. Jack Rosenblatt, Daryl Turner, El Dorado, Custodian, Mike M. Brett Meyer says, give us a Nelson Cruz homer. Oh, no. No, I think I'd rather Nolly cash his live.
Cash it.
Okay, there, good. Okay, yeah. I think a lot of people tailed it, and it's fun when you have a live bet given out on the show that cashes. It just adds to this show. So I'll take the loss there.
Oh, I had to earn it. Feels good. I'm alive, man. I'm alive right now.
I love that shit. Matt Paulins, a top set. Joseph Gomez, Andrew G, Wallaby King. Great group. Our boss, LJ from H-Town. Eric Jones. Thank you guys all, man. Saturated. Great group. T-Mac. Turnsy in the house. Lit Picks. Parlay Streets. Fireside. D. Jenkins. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. We have nothing without you guys. Truly. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Jose for doing a great job producing as always. And big shows coming up today. We have Sharpie, who's running so hot with his Prize Picks prop market, 3:10 p.m. Then we have Daily Sesh at 4:20 p.m. At 5:30 p.m., Jose Say Hey Plays of the Day starring Connor Mack. So a ton of action here with you guys, rolling with you guys. Nolly, what a treat it is to roll with you, my man. I look forward to doing this again soon. Enjoy the All-Star break. You have any plans for the All-Star break? You going to take the fam anywhere?
I plan on being in the stands and catching a home run. That's what I plan on doing, you know.
Oh, nice.
Taking a bite out of the pocketbook, you know. It's my son's birthday the day before, so we're gonna have a good time at the home run derby.
I'm so fucking jealous, Nolly. You have no idea. I'm so fucking
that's
jealous.
dope. Oh, that'll be fun. You and your son.
Yeah, taking a hit on it, you know. Look, it's pricey, you know, but yeah, man. So it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I feel for my son, so I'm all in.
Oh, that's dope, man. I love hearing that. Go out there and get that cash. Nolly, we've never seen you give us a leche. It's been a long time.
Oh, man.
Can you give us a leche?
I don't know. I'm not very versed like this. Jimmy got a little more experience than me, you know, but yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Jim. Always a pleasure. Shout out to the chat. Glad we cashed. And leche, all those bookmakers.